Oh, it's the good people with Eric and Hannah. Look at that. I got it right. I got it
You got it
right.
right.
I got it
You got it
right.
right. But you always get it right, though. It's me that fumbles it every time.
Yeah.
Well, it's just that one time. I don't remember.
Maybe so. I don't know. You didn't fumble nothing. You're okay.
I didn't say anything. So,
You're talking right now. You do realize
uh,
you're live, right? Like
yes,
it's
I
been so
am.
long. It's been so long.
My brain is mush right now. It is complete and utter. Like, I will put my cell phone in the refrigerator. Um, what did I do like a couple months ago? I went to pop popcorn, like just those bags that you put in the microwave.
Uh-huh.
And I had gotten a glass bowl and I put the bag in the glass bowl and then I put it in the microwave. And then I was like fully ready to like, all right, I'm going to pop this popcorn. And then I had this moment of like, what am I doing? Like,
Why am I having popcorn?
yeah, or no, it's more like, why have I put the bag inside the glass bowl, which is a bowl that wasn't supposed to be microwaved? And I was like, gosh, I can't, I'm so done being pregnant right now.
You're so
But
done
I
being
had
pregnant.
like, I think I was like late, I was like early in the third trimester at that point. I was like, I just
So
can't. I'm
I
like,
just realized you did ask when we were starting, but the what's called the mic is picking up the AC a little bit. So I don't know where
oh,
you
it
have
is.
it, like the AC.
So it's like the full AC. It's
Oh, like the housing
the
AC or whatever.
housing AC. Yeah, that's why I'm like, I don't think we ever had this issue to where it picked that up.
Just keep the mic close to your mouth there, and then that way we
Okay.
don't have it like it'll pick up more of your voice than it will the AC, and then we can
Okay.
fix it in post. Don't worry too much about it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so just keep the mic close to your lips there, and we'll be okay. But I did it one time where what did I do? I put it was early. I don't know what I was getting up for. I think I had to go to the office early for something, right?
Mhm.
I put the coffee beans in like in the basin thing or whatever, but I didn't grind them. So like
So you just put the beans.
I put whole coffee beans into the maker and then hit the brew, and then um it just brewed like light tea colored water, and I was like,
You're
what the
like,
I'm like looking at like what the hell, and then like I opened the basin and I'm like, I didn't grind the beans. And then I was like,
listen, that's not the worst. I've done that before without actually putting the coffee like in the filter.
yeah.
And like it was coming out like clear and I was like, kind of what kind of weird cheap Dunkin' Donuts mixture is this? And it's
Right.
like, oh,
And
I
like
didn't
but
put
that's
the
okay though, because then you just waste water. Like you just
yeah.
wasted water. Like I wasted a whole, probably $3 worth of beans. Just
Because the beans are more expensive, aren't they? Because they're like, in a
oh
way,
yeah. Yeah, the
because you
beans
have to
just
grind them and
it's so funny we talk about this. Remember how we did like one of those episodes where we were talking about like money and all that kind of stuff, and we go on about how like people pay $5 a cup of coffee. Yeah. Cup
yeah,
of cup of coffee at Starbucks.
yeah. Hmm.
And I'm like, that's dumb. I'll just go make my own coffee, right? And well, no, I don't buy like Folgers or whatever. I've been buying like my coffee bill on average is about $20.
A month.
Mm, I want to say two because I buy two bags. So I use maybe 3.5 weeks, close to a month.
Okay.
So $5 a week, I guess it's not terrible, but depends on how
I
much
don't
I'm
think so.
drinking too. Depends on how much coffee I'm drinking too. Because
Mm.
sometimes I can go through one of those like bags, like the standard, you see them at the grocery store, the standard,
Yeah, yeah. Like you just go into the aisle and it's there and ready.
yeah,
And
you grab like they're all the same size, no matter what
hmm.
the brand is. I grab one of those and it'll last. Sometimes it'll go about a week, week and a half. Depends on how
Okay.
much I'm drinking and stretching it or whatever. But
Do you usually have like how many cups would you say you have a day? Because I've always been like a 1 cup, and sometimes it's just half a cup. Now, being pregnant, I have to monitor how much caffeine I have.
right.
Um, but what are you like? Because you work office settings, so I'm sure that
I usually go
at
through
like that
like
2-3 o'clock time, you might want like a cup of coffee. I feel like that's how I am,
so
like
I've been
most
changing it
days.
up a bit. So like usually I noticed I prefer to have the smaller standard size cup.
Hmm.
I'm not a big huge fan of the huge mugs that people have been rocking. Like I'm not a huge
Yeah.
fan of those, right? I tend to like these. I think I get a better like ratio flavoring when I do these. The
Mhm.
smaller standard cups. So I do usually it's about 3 of these over the course of the morning,
Mhm.
which seems like a lot, but it's equivalent to about one of those Starbucks, tumblers or
Yep.
whatever, which
Yeah.
most people go through it during their morning.
It always surprises me, like, how, like, I had a conversation with somebody, it was on Twitch about this a while ago, and that we've gotten so caught up in getting, like, and it must be, like, a Western American thing with portion sizes, right? Where girl or, like, people will just go and be like, "Can I have a venti?" Like, whatever. Like,
Mhm.
venti is that's not even the highest one. I think the biggest one is a tentra or whatever
Oh,
it
no,
is.
yeah.
Tentra, whatever. But so I've been telling myself, like, one, because I'm pregnant, I haven't stopped drinking coffee. Some people are like, "You can't drink coffee." My OB was like, "You can have coffee, you just can't drink to excess." Like, but when we go to Starbucks, I've started to switch to getting, like, just a tall, which I used to get, like,
That's
a
the
grande
small one.
or yeah, that's a small one, where I used to get, like, a grande or a venti,
Yeah.
but I always noticed I would never finish the grande or the venti.
Mhm.
So, like, pregnancy has forced me to just get, like, the small one, and that's more than enough for me. Like, I'm like, "Wow," like, we fall into this trend of, like, we need more, but in reality, like, I was content and happy with just having a tall. It was enough. I got my fix. Now Dustin, he'll drink like a grande or venti, but like I feel like for a lot of people, like I'm one of those people that leaves like a half of like a water bottle, and then I'll go get another
Oh,
water bottle.
you're one of
That's one of
those.
my. I'm one of those people.
Bro, I lived with 2 people that were like that, and we were in a system at that time, we were in a system where, like, 1 person would get it a week. So, like,
Hmm.
"Hey, so and so, it's your week to go get the cases of water," because it was fairly cheap at the time. It was 2 or
Yeah.
3 bucks for a whole case of water, right? So it's like, "Hey, it's your week to get the water," and then, like, that person would go get a case of water. We did have a standard. It's like, "Hey, don't go buy, Dollar Tree shit,"
Hmm.
like
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
but, like, name brand like, the Target water, like, the whatever it was at the time,
yeah,
Market Pantry or whatever was cool.
yeah.
Like, we're like, "Yeah, that's cool," right, But,
Hmm.
like, it would piss me off because it would be my turn to buy the water, and I would go
Hmm.
buy the nicer water because I liked it, but they would drink, like, 3/4 of it and leave a quarter all over the damn house. I was like, "Dude." So I got to the point where I started filling them back up
Yeah,
and then sealing
and
them.
just putting them back.
No, and putting them on the table because 'cause I'm not gonna put it back because 'cause I'm not drinking their
Uh,
waters, but I would
oh,
put it back on the table where it was, and then I would recycle all the other bottles.
you know what I think my problem is I'm not a room temp water kind of person. Like I
Me either.
need cold, like, and so what ends up happening is like I'll have a nice cold bottle of water and I'm like drinking it, and then eventually it gets to a point where like it's not cold anymore, and then I forget about it, and then like I walk away, and then the only time I'm drinking room temp water is if I have no choice, or if it's the middle of the night and I have to get up and there's like a glass of water there and I need something to drink. But yeah, I'm the water. You would hate being my roommate because like I'm the kind of person that's like just before we even started, Dustin's like, "I love that we have like 6 cups of water sitting next
It
to the
drives him
bed."
nuts, right? It drives him nuts.
Does it drive you nuts, Dustin? He just looks at me.
No,
It's
I'm in the same, like, kinda way where I was like, "Dude," like, it's just like I was wasting money. I don't like wasting money on stuff like that. I'll waste money on
yeah.
stupid things that benefit me, but, like, if it's, like, the water, I'm like, "Dude, why are we wasting bottles of water? It's stupid."
No.
So I stopped, like, doing that thing, and then the next apartment, we switched to the whole Brita thing, where it's
How
like
are you with that? Because honestly, like I'm we never fill it up. Like like, so it's empty right now. It's been empty for like 2 days. I've just been using like tap water because I'm too lazy to fill it up.
we're
Like,
good. We're good with
you're
it.
good
Like
with it.
every time I see it get low, I start filling it. Or like if I put a significant amount in something, like for the coffee
Mhm.
maker or for the ice maker, I'll go and I'll fill it right after and stick it back in the fridge.
Okay.
You might be one of the ones that would benefit from the one that hooks to the faucet
Mhm.
and go that route.
Yeah, mostly we have, so like when we moved into this apartment, we have our kitchen sink, and then there's like the regular faucet, and then there's like filtered water to the side.
Oh,
Um, it's most for me, it's mostly the cold water situation because we don't have an ice maker.
yeah.
So we have to like do that like the old school, you
With the
put it in like the
cubes.
little ice trays, yeah. If you want something cold. And so that's why I don't use it. So I'm like, let's get a burrito. Like that was one of the things we got like for our wedding. And like now it's empty. So like this is just like tap water because I have
When
no
you
choice
have
right
the
now.
filtered water thing right next to it.
Oh yeah, the like I mean it is the filtered water, but it's not cold.
Yeah.
It's just so yeah, it's probably one of like those they say like when you move in together like you're going to find like your little quirks that like
The
kind of
quirks of
irritate
things
you.
that like irritate me.
That's one of my quirks. My
I
other quirk is Dustin says that I'm chaotic neutral with folding my laundry. And because Dustin's really good with organizing his laundry, like he folds it, looks so nice, and he puts it up. I'm just like, I'll have a shirt, I'll be like,
That's yeah.
and
See, you're
shove it
me.
in the,
You're
I
me.
shove
Like
it in the,
Pow's a folder. Like she'll fold everything up and everything and make it look
yeah.
nice. Even after the laundromat, like she'll fold it all up and put it in the IKEA
Mm.
bag and everything and make it look all nice. Whereas like me,
Yeah.
I'm just like I'm getting out of this laundromat and I just throw the shit in the bag and I leave and I'll take care
That's
of
how
it
I
when
feel.
I get home.
I know. And then I don't take care of it when I get home. I just end up like shoving things into the,
I did call
and
out
so,
I did call out Pal on one of her quirks though that finally was starting to drive me nuts. And I adore and I love this woman. But
uh-oh, you about to get it, Erik, in the
she
chat.
leaves all her damn like hair clips or those pin things for her hair and all that stuff. They're all over the place. They're like me with guitar picks. Like they're all over the place.
It's like how some girls leave their eyelashes like around
Yeah.
the house, like
Oh, she's like,
but
oh, that's okay. Because she knows like she's like, oh, he's probably right.
but you
Because
know what? That's convenient for her because what if she needs one? She's like, oh, there's one right here, and she just like
I'm gonna go. I haven't done it yet, but it's on my list of things to go get. Is like a little bowl to put like that stuff in. So
yeah.
it's not like because there's a nightstand by the bed on
Mhm.
where I put like my Kindle and stuff when I go to bed. But like I'll put a little bowl there and I'll see guitars that stuff. It's like if you ever lived with someone that played guitar or like dated someone, you find guitar picks everywhere. Them shits are in the lint thing in the dryer because they're in your pocket. They're in like you have one in your hand or whatever. They're in the
It's just
kitchen all
part of
over.
it.
It's part of living in there, dude. They're in the little caddy thing for your sink, like
Mhm.
your dish rack. Like what the hell, how did that get in there, like in the caddy for your dish rack where you put the forks and the spoons and all that kind of stuff, and I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Dang.
But yeah, that was one of her quirks that was one of her quirks that was driving me nuts, and I finally called her out on it. I'm like, yeah, stop please. They're all over the place because they get on the floor,
Listen.
you vacuum, and I'm like
No, I for me surprisingly like y- I'm always having trouble finding like little hair ties and stuff like that because I keep one on my wrist at like all times.
yeah.
All time, and then I end up losing it. Um but I never have enough around to where I have to go buy new ones. I think what happens is because at work I have to put gloves on when I'm
And they
doing
roll
certain
off.
things. And so when I go to rip the glove off, I think I just sometimes like just grab the hairband and in the garbage. So I'll be at work wanting to pull my hair up, and I'm like, "Where's my
how
hair
much
tie?"
how much on average do you think you spend on hair ties?
Not that. I always get like the packs of like 50 and 100, so they're not that expensive, you know.
Are you Dollar Treeing these things or do you
Oh
like get them
yeah,
at
like I just go
yeah.
to CVS. I'm like, give me.
No,
I'm
that's
like,
the worst place to go.
is it?
Yeah, CVS is horrible. Pal was telling me about how she would make me goodie
Oh
bags
yeah,
with
that's
snacks.
right.
And
I remember
like
you telling
she's
me.
like, these bags of gummy bears are like $4. I'm like, girl, go to Dollar Tree. They're $1. And she's like, oh yeah. you know.
But you know what? The problem, I love Dollar Tree, but the chaotic mess that is Dollar Tree when you walk in, and like I'm just like I don't know where
I saw
anything
a fight
is.
at a Dollar Tree.
Did you?
These two ladies, dude, they were like, it was Christmas time too.
Mhm.
And all I heard was like you hear some rustling in the back. The lines were long and it was going
Mhm.
to the back where the aisles were, and you heard some rustling, and she was like, "Go ahead and touch me. I'll take care of you." Da, 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 like some
Oh
random shit.
my
And
god.
then like, the other girl was like, "Bitch, see what happens." Da, 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 da. And I'm like, "Oh shit." And then I just heard crash.
Oh
on
gosh.
these two ladies were like throwing each other into the aisles and the shelves and stuff like that. And then everyone just like scurried over there and like Pow's checking out. And I'm like, girl, you're missing this. And then like,
Eric, you're like peering around the corner, like watching like
oh,
what happens.
it was in my direct line of sight. Like I turned
Oh.
my head and it was right there, and these two ladies went at it. And then after it was all said and done, it got broken up. One lady's like, "She touched me, call police, I sue." And I'm like, "Oh my god!" And then that was the excitement at Dollar Tree. But yeah, saw a fight at Dollar Tree.
Honestly, like I have never met a place where like the employees just do not care at all. And they
Hmm.
know that their jobs are secure because they're like, who are you going to hire to like want to deal with this crap at Dollar Tree? Like when I worked retail, I worked retail PetSmart when I was like 19. And they were so like, make sure the items look all faced and nice, and like you rotate the expired items, and
Yeah, right.
and so like sometimes our managers would be like crazy about it, you know. But you go into a Dollar Tree, nothing's been faced. There's like pallets that are tipped over with like 20 boxes scattered with products, and you know the employees are like, listen, you're getting a discount, like either you buy it, but you're not paying me to make this place look fancy schmancy.
Dude, it's I feel the same way about like Pal and I are starting to feel the same way about Walmart. We've literally gotten to the point where we found everything we need to get at Walmart
Mm-hmm.
elsewhere. Cause like Walmart is just
I went
it's
to Walmart 2 days ago, and I was like, I don't know if I could go to Walmart again.
are you a frequent Walmart person though or no?
No, because like surprise, you would think given where I live, like I would be fairly close to a Walmart.
Yeah.
Like growing up, there was no Walmart that was like the closest Walmart was 45 minutes away, and so like we never did, we were Target, like
Yeah.
um but where we live now, there's probably a Walmart that's like 15 minutes from us, but the Target's also 15 minutes from us. So for
So
us, it's
you're
like
like
we'll just
you
go to
go to the
Target.
Target. Yeah, you guys have a nice Target too. We were in there. But like Walmart, it's just horrible. Like they have the biggest problem I have with Walmart is they stick the pallets in the aisles, like where people walk. And
Hmm.
it's just uncomfortable. You can't navigate people through there. And then on top of that, they design the stores where the aisles where the actual products are skinny, and then you have people in there running their cars through, and then you have the shoppers. And I understand that they're just doing their jobs, but you have the Walmart like
Right.
pickup shoppers or whatever rolling
Yeah.
through with their metal bin carts that are all sort and like that doesn't help. And I'm just like, I can't deal with this. And like I didn't think much of it until Pal started
Hmm.
getting anxiety from it because she gets anxiety when she goes to a Walmart and she gets frustrated
Me
because
too.
people
Pal,
don't
it's not just you, girl. It's me. Like,
people just don't know how to navigate and they're rude. They'll leave their carts. And I'm guilty of it too. I will try to leave my
yeah.
cart somewhere off to the side or whatever, but like in
Mm-hmm.
Walmart, it's impossible. Everywhere you put your cart, you're in the way of something.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
And there's, I don't know what it is about, like, because Walmart is like, it's a great store. Like, I mean, it's very different.
it's
Like, okay,
gotten
so up
better.
north, I will say that, like, because I have family that lives up north,
Right.
like, that lives in, like, Virginia, West Virginia. We're talking about places that, like, aren't heavily populated. You go into those Walmarts, they are nice Walmarts.
Yeah.
Like, it's not busy. I think the thing that freaks me out with Walmarts the most is that it's so overcrowded all the time. It doesn't even
Yeah.
matter when you go. But you go to these Walmarts that are like in like small towns or something, and it's just like an easy process. Go in, get what you need. But the Walmart I went to get Dustin's Valentine's Day gifts like a couple days ago with my friend, and we were standing in line for about 15 minutes. And at this point, like I don't look for special treatment as like being pregnant. Like some people, you know, you can't assume that people are gonna know, right? You know what I mean? And I'm
Yeah.
not that person that's gonna be like, "Hey, hello, I'm pregnant." But I've had a lot of people that like if I check out, they're like, "Oh, do you want a seat while I check you out, or like, do you want me to
Yeah.
pack the bags light?" Like, and that was at Trader Joe's and stuff like that. So like, I people are capable of, you know, just showing some kind of common courtesy, you know what I mean? So we're in line. The guy in front of us is buying like he's like bulk buying like all the sleeping bags. I think he bought like 50
She's
sleeping bags.
preparing
So
for like
I
apocalypse.
don't I don't know. But I'm like and my friend's like, "Do you want to go a different line?" I look over at the other lines. I'm like, "Honestly, like it's okay. We'll just stand here because Everybody else has got like 20 billion other things in their
Did
carts, and the
you
lines are long.
see did you see that interview that CEO did for Walmart, and he was like, "If the theft continues, we're gonna have to close down stores, we're gonna have to raise prices." Like, all these, like,
I haven't seen. Is that recent?
within the past 6 months or so, he did this thing, right? Because
Hmm.
theft has become rampant, like, in retail. If you watch, like, your TikToks and all that kind of stuff and YouTube and stuff, you're seeing all these
Hmm.
videos of, like, people running out of the store with just shopping carts of stuff and,
Yeah, I've seen
security.
like they kind of rush as a group, like,
Yeah,
and
and
come in
security is
and
not doing anything about it and
yeah.
da 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 because, legal reasons and, like, these people are making minimum wage. Why are they gonna try to save,
Hmm.
200, $300 worth of product, that kind of stuff. That's different opinions for different, that's a
Right.
different opinion between who you talk to about it. But the CEO of Walmart comes up and, like, or one of the executives of Walmart, I don't know if he's CEO, he's like, if this stuff continues, we're gonna have to, like, raise prices. We're probably gonna have to shut down stores to offset those costs, blah, 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 blah. Right? Putting real fear in Walmart shoppers, right?
Right.
And then you look at the actual stats and statistics of everything, their theft did not increase
Hmm.
until they started taking out all the check stands and putting the self-checkouts.
Really?
That's the
Oh,
that's the
okay.
catalyst for when the stuff really.
Right.
So the reality is it's not the people running out of the store with a couple $100 of stuff here and there.
Hmm.
It's the couple of thousands of dollars they're losing daily from people not scanning stuff in the checkout, or
It's like
they cheating
weighing
the
so
system.
it's like weighing something and you say, "Oh, these are like 4 avocados." In reality, you've bought like,
Right. 2.
a pair of headphones or something, or
It's not even that. It's like people will buy bulk, like they'll buy 6 pound, like 6, 1 pound packs of meat or whatever, but only scan 5.
oh, so it's like the little things
It's
that
the
like
little things that add up over time. And then there is the cheat
mhm.
system. Warning right now, I do not disclose any of these tactics or these tips. Do not go do this stuff because you'll get in
Be a
trouble.
law-abiding citizen.
Right. But there are videos posted out there about how people do things like label swaps or whatever, or they'll, like,
Mm,
they'll put a barcode for something cheap on their hand and actually scan that when they slide it across the scanner and stuff like that. And that's how this stuff
oh,
gets out of the store and affordable at a cheaper rate because the dude, number one, in California at least, it's not legal for Walmart to stop you and be like,
I
I need
think
to
it's
see
the
your
same
receipt.
here.
Like
Yeah,
in
because when
Cal
I work retail, they told me, they're like, "You are absolutely not supposed to approach anyone."
Right. So they can't technically stop you at the thing and be like, let me see your receipt, blah, blah. They don't say. Now, the
Mhm,
reason Costco gets away with this is because when you sign up for your Costco membership, it's an actual clause in their contract that says you are
mhm,
agreeing to a check when you leave the store. So do not try it at
mhm.
Costco because they can legally do it. It's in the contract.
Oh, okay.
But,
Costco's just got it down, like,
right,
perfectly.
there's a reason they're one of the best retailers to work for in the country.
Mhm.
So my brother actually works for them and is treated very, very well. He works very, very hard. I will give him that. He works incredibly
Yeah.
hard, but he's treated pretty well.
Yeah, but there's a TikTok account
Yeah.
that I didn't end up following it, but I've seen a lot of her TikToks. She was an elementary school teacher, and she quit to work at Costco,
Right.
and people are
Is she
like, "Oh,
making
don't
more?
you?" I don't know because I'd have to check to see if she is, but she there was one TikTok she posted that she said, even though I have to work like weekends sometimes, like even though I have to maybe work like more hours, like as far as like in a store, and I'm on my feet, like she's like, it is so much more manageable
Mhm.
than working as a teacher and then going home to do all my, like, I clock out at Costco, I'm done at Costco. And they feed you, they treat you well, you get great discounts and benefits. And she's like, I never received that kind of treatment in the school system. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
It's
So
it's pretty odd.
Costco's
It's
one of
pretty
those places. If you can get a job at Costco, go get a job at Costco.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, if you can do one of those places, if you're gonna work retail, Costco is one of the better ones to work for.
mhm,
But yeah, there's that whole thing. So, like, I was like, "Stop lying. It's because of the self-checkout stuff." If you want more accurate checking, you need to get checkers and train them properly and pay them properly so they care.
mhm, yeah.
And then, it's that whole thing. And then number 1, number 2, they get write-offs on their taxes for that. They write those losses off on their taxes. So they're
Do they? I
yeah,
didn't think that
so
you could do
technically
that.
they're not losing money. They're getting it back in some
No,
way, shape, or form,
I
you
I
know?
mean, there are Walmarts everywhere. I wonder if there are more Walmarts than Targets. Probably.
Oh yeah, there's more Walmarts than Targets, I believe. But and plus, there's also the Sam's Club thing. I think counts as Walmart because it's Walmart Corp. So there would be more.
Oh, okay, I didn't even know
There would
that.
be more locations into because Target does not have a warehouse like
Mm,
model like a Costco or a Sam's Club or whatever.
no.
But there's all kinds of theories floating around about that. There's theories floating around about how like the reason they're locking everything up at a Walmart and stuff like that, the laundry detergents, all that stuff, is to
Mhm,
kind of consider they're trying to put in place this idea that maybe Walmart actually wants to go full online and use their stores as distributions. So like
kinda like an
locking
online pickup
yeah.
system.
So, locking up everything in the stores and making it creates an inconvenience to get the stuff that you need. So, like, if you go into the
Mhm,
store and you're like inconvenienced trying to get your laundry detergent and stuff, you just don't go and you just order in the line and do the
right,
pickup. That's what
mhm,
and the theory is actually valid. I think
right.
I don't know if it's correct. I don't know if it's accurate. It's all hearsay, but
I
that
think a
makes
lot of this
sense.
stems from, like, the COVID, like, quarantine and everything where,
Yeah.
like, we've gotten so used to, like, online pickups and, online shopping and,
It's
um
interesting too because Walmart does not consider Target a direct competitor.
really, who would they consider?
Walmart's biggest threat is Amazon.
I guess I could see that.
Because
I guess
Amazon
in my head, I always just assumed
Walmart was
Target
the largest retailer in the world
until Amazon
till
started to
Amazon came along. So now Amazon is the biggest threat to Walmart's like well-being. And
mm,
the interesting thing about it too is that's why they have all those like Walmart has very similar product plans like Walmart, whatever is Walmart Plus or Walmart Star or whatever, where you can
mhm,
just pay a monthly fee and then you can, get all these perks, free store
right,
pickups and blah 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 and 2 day shipping and yeah, they're following a similar business model. The biggest difference between Amazon and
okay,
Walmart is Walmart has all these storefronts that they can utilize as pickup and delivery points.
right.
So weird. But anyway,
I mean, and
that's a
I don't
tangent.
think Walmart will ever. I don't know, it's
They're
hard
not
to
going
say. I mean,
away.
they're not going away. I mean, I don't think they're gonna be the next Sears or anything like that, like,
No.
they'll be around. But I will agree, the whole self-checkout thing. When we were in line, my friend and I, we weren't in self-checkout, we were in, like, the regular, like,
Yeah.
the cashier scans us out, but the self-checkout line had, like, probably 20 people in it
Yeah.
and, like, probably 8 self-checkout machines.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know, Walmart is just it's a chore, it's not enjoyable. Like, for me, shopping in general is not very enjoyable because
Yeah.
I get very anxious, I, like, get very overstimulated way too quickly. I'm the person that will either wake up early to go shopping for my groceries or I will go at night. Like,
Right before closing. I've started to get into that habit. It's just like
yeah,
going right before closing and not having to deal with anything. But then
yeah.
now me and Power staying out of places like we only go to Walmart for what we need and then we leave. We're in and out in like 20 minutes
Oh,
tops.
yeah. Yeah, no,
Where
I'm not I can't long gone are the days of, like, window shopping where you're like, "Oh, let's just kinda
yeah,
look around and see what." No.
we're all
I
about the
know what I'm here
Aldi.
for.
Pow and I are all about the
I
Aldi.
I love Aldi, but I mean, those can also be an experience at times. You have to you go in, you have to have patience with Aldi because you know that you're getting such good deals on things, like, you have to remind yourself,
Yeah.
it's not gonna be, like, the most, like, aesthetically pleasing looking store, which that doesn't bother me all that much, but, like, there's, like, 2 cashiers and there are, like, 50 people
Yeah.
in this like, in line, so but it makes it worth it because you're getting such a good deal and you're getting great quality. You're like Trader Joe's, I love Trader Joe's, but it's always a madhouse. Like,
The
parking's
parking
a
lot,
mad
dude. That's by
I
design too.
is that I always wondered that because I'm like, why does every single Trader Joe's have, like, the parking lot from hell?
Their
Like,
whole idea okay, so Trader Joe's idea is like they want to be the neighborhood grocery store, right? They're like that
mhm,
cross between like general store from the old school days and a supermarket. They're like
yeah.
right in the middle, right? But here's the idea behind a small parking lot. When a small parking lot is full, it gives the impression people driving by like, "Oh, wow, that place must be really popular. They must have really good
Uh,
deals or good stuff." And then people go in and like try to navigate and see it. Like, but that's by
mhm.
design. Like, if we make it
Man,
look full, people will want to go in.
yeah.
And then.
And
Social
the
media
thing
does
is,
a
like,
lot with that too. Like social media, though, like that's why all these places have like social media accounts, like your Trader Joe's, your Aldi's, and all this stuff. They're getting social
mhm,
media accounts because they can make their stores like this is what you get when you go inside the store, and this is like so you
mhm.
see that Trader Joe's like old time general store
Yeah.
experience, and you're like, oh, that's so cute, you know.
Pal says in the chat that it would make her wanna go less, and, like, I am like that because I hate crowds.
It would be
So, like
like that. It would be like that if you had already been.
right.
But if you are one of those people that has never experienced a Trader Joe's and not seen it on social media or whatever, and
Mhm.
you just drive by, you're like, wow, that's crazy. I wonder what that is.
Yeah, like, what's the big deal?
At the
Like, and
bare
then you
minimum, it's getting someone to look it up when they get home and go on their phone.
yeah, right.
And then
Which
go, oh, that's cute. You
I
know?
didn't know what Trader Joe's was when it was first, because originally, like, the location that's there now by us, it used to be a Toys R Us,
Hmm.
and this is when they were closing all the Toys R Us stores. They demolished it, and they're like, "Oh, we're putting up a Trader Joe's," and I'm like, "I don't even know what that is." But from word of mouth, everybody was like, "Oh, Trader Joe's is amazing," like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, "It's just a grocery store." But, of course, like, I would drive by, and it would be busy, and so in word of mouth, people are like, "Oh, you need to try the orange chicken, or you gotta get this,"
Hmm.
and then once you go in, that's the problem. I will go to Trader Joe's when it's absolutely insane because I know what to expect as far as the quality and because, like, they do such a great thing where they only sell their product. I
Hmm.
can't go to Publix and get the Trader Joe's orange chicken or their
Right.
seltzer water for 79 cents. Like,
It's a
I'm like,
quality
"I
thing.
gotta
Plus,
go
their
to
food
Trader
quality is
Joe's."
good. There's stuff
Yeah,
like there's stuff we've gotten at Aldi that just doesn't taste very good. Like we're not a big
yeah.
fan. Like we bought the Aldi version of the Chewy bars. You know those
Okay,
Quaker
yeah. Yeah,
Chewies?
the
Like
Quaker with the chocolate chips in them.
yeah, we bought the Aldi version. They're not very good. They're very
Oh,
hard and they're kind of like bland tasting. So we learned we're like, okay, we're just gonna avoid those. But there's things that are
yeah.
very good, and we learned like we bought what do we buy that oh, they have their own version of the goldfish, but they're little turtles.
Aw. Do
And
they taste good, though?
they taste good. They taste very, very similar to goldfish.
Oh.
Their wheat thin version of the wheat thin,
Mhm.
very similar. If you're already buying
Oh.
like, Target branded snacks like
Mhm.
that, Aldi's not going to make a world of difference to you.
Yeah.
You might as well just
Well, I
go to
think
Aldi and save more money.
I think a lot of their stuff, like, is actually, like, basically the same product, but rebranded, like,
Yeah.
or repackaged or
Yeah.
however it is,
And
but
it's fine. Like a lot of it is
yeah.
fine. What have I been buying? Oh, like I have this addiction to mints. So before, when I would get stressed, I would obviously smoke. And
Mhm.
then Pow turned me on to the icebreakers like mints, the one that looked like little pucks, right?
The
I
ones
go
that are, like, in that circle tin,
I
like
would go through I go like, depending on how bad my situation is, I'll go through a pack of
mhm.
those a day
Oh, wow.
in terms of stress because 'cause I'll chew them.
Wow. Ah, okay. It's like a little thing to kind of get the
Plus, they're
edge off.
also 0 calories, so they almost act as like a sweet tooth craving for me.
Yeah.
So I'll go through, like, a pack of those. So, like but Aldi's version is $2, the Icebreakers version is 2.50. So
Oh,
I'll go buy,
okay.
like, 4 or 5 of them at Aldi and be
Mhm.
good for
It'd be good for a while.
a week, yeah, a week and a half, depending on how bad life is. But speaking of bad life, I hear you're having some trouble with the snowbirds in Florida. If
I
you're watching this right now on YouTube or Twitch or whatever, but she's got a very long sigh in her face.
I I don't wanna be that person that's like, "I hate people." I genuinely hate snowbirds. If anyone doesn't know what a snowbird is, it so I live in Florida. I live in South Florida. And so around this time, like after Christmas, um, we get like these wonderful flock of people that decide that they want to come and stay from January till about like late March.
Mhm.
And they're from northern states typically or Canada. Get a lot of Quebec license plates around. I swear, every time I see a Quebec
Where it
license
snows.
plate,
If it
yeah,
snows and
I'm
it's
about to
miserable
like
up
pop
there.
off. Like I get so irritated. Um and we also deal with spring breakers too. Like the
Right.
college kids that are like, "Yay, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, like
They
spring
just make you
breaking."
envious of their youth, whereas the
Yeah, if
snowbirds just
anything,
drive you
I'm like, I
nuts.
wish I could Yeah, and I told Dustin, I said, I would rather deal with a month of spring breakers because spring breakers are annoying. Listen, I'm sorry if you're in your 20s and you're like, yay, spring break. Like, y'all are annoying. Like, because you go around and like you're just drunk all the time. But I would rather deal with you for like 2 weeks, a month during that spring break time.
Because the drunk
And
spring breakers are actually entertaining. You're like, that girl's
well,
gonna throw up
and
right
you know
there.
what? The thing is, like, spring breakers, they tend to migrate to the beach
Yeah.
and they're like, that's like their whole, like, we just want to party, have fun, get drunk. Like, and it's like, okay, great, go have a good time. I know where to avoid you.
You avoid the beach.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm just not gonna go to the beach for like 2 months. It's not a big deal. Like, I live in Florida. I can go to the beach the other, 10 months out of the year. It's fine. But the snowbirds, they get themselves in their little cars and they drive all the way down here because they're crazy.
What's the
And
snowbird's vehicle of choice?
it's usually white or gray and it's usually above my budget because they're all retirees that got money and they're like, the kids have left the nest. We're gonna go down to Florida
Oh,
and
so
have a
they're
good
rocking like
time.
Range Rovers or like top at like
Yeah. And they're dual. There's sometimes
Lexuses.
dual citizenships because they're Canadian. And I'm sorry, I'm coming for the Canadians. I love you, Canadians. I'm talking specifically about the snowbird Canadians, like because I know Zenith's a Canadian. I love you, Zenith, but I'm
I
talking
heard
about
him.
specifically
Yeah.
the snowbirds that are like, oh, we have like a vacation home down in Naples, and like they buy up the real estate. And then they make it hard for millennials and Gen Z to be like, I'd love to get a house one day. But then you got like Susan and her husband Ken that are like, you know what? The kids have left the nest. We're going to go buy up this house. It'll be our vacation home for 3 months. And and they don't drive right. Like the speed limit says 45 and they're like, does that say 35? Okay, better slow it down a little bit more. And
Kilometers versus miles per hour
I
because they're
know.
metric up there.
And I was like, there is nothing that irritates me more than a snowbird. The minute I see that first like Quebec license plate, there's this like ominous music in the background where you're like, oh my god, it's here, and it's like, what's here? The snowbirds. Like it could be a
Yeah.
horror movie. I could direct a film that would genuinely terrify all of you. And they come down here and they don't know how to drive and they don't know how to use their blinkers. And I got so mad. One day I was like looking up like Reddit, but you know when you just want like an opinion validated, so you go on Reddit and you're like, am I the only person that genuinely cannot stand these people? So of course I'm reading like stuff on Reddit that are like, I hate the snowbirds, and then I stumbled across this article, which was like probably the most BS article I've ever read in my life. And it was like, snowbirds from all these northern states and Canada, they come down to Florida because the people of Florida are so welcoming. And I'm like, who wrote that horse crap? I've never met a Floridian that's like, I can't wait to welcome the Northerners like down here. Like, and
That's funny. I don't speak for all the. I don't speak in regard to all these Florida because obviously you and Dustin are in Florida or whatever. But like,
yeah,
there is something. But then again, you're native to Florida, but Dustin isn't.
yes, no, he's not.
But there's something about the people of Florida. You guys are weird over there. Like,
are we? Like,
yeah.
well, the thing is,
You're
you have to
young. Now
remember,
keep in mind too, you're young. Like
yeah,
you're young. Okay, so I don't think you necessarily fit into this bracket of what I'm talking about here because
mhm,
Florida is a majority of is a retiree state. At least it used to
right,
be. Now it's more,
yeah.
younger
But
people because that's what they
I
afford
would
it.
say it's still more. I think it's because of the location that I live in.
Yeah.
I'm exposed to more. Like this is like it's kind of like the whole state of New York. New York City is going to be very different than like
Yeah, the whole state of New York.
the whole state. And so like I'm in a place where there's a lot of young people. It's a little bit more liberal.
Yeah.
The county that I'm in. So like it's when people say like, oh, it's a lot of old people in Florida, a lot of people gravitate their mind towards like Naples,
Yeah.
like old retiree. Whereas here, like, yeah, there are a lot of old retirees here in like this area. But I have such a mix of like cultures and ethnicities and ages that it's not as
It's funny because
shocking to me,
like you go like when we went on that boat ride for your wedding and you're looking at
Yeah.
all these fat towns, I'm like in my head, I'm like, these are the motherfuckers that are gonna tell me you need to work 4 jobs if you want to live this life type of crap, you know what I'm saying? I'm on a
Yeah.
very big, like I feel terrible too because I've been kinda, like, taking it out on my mom a little bit because she comes from the generation, but I'm becoming a
Mhm.
very anti-boomer. They're starting to drive me nuts.
I'm trying to retain a level of, like, grace and understanding for the because eh I try to remind myself, I'm like, they grew up very differently than we did,
Right.
but at the same time, when you hear statements like that, like, "You just need to work harder," and it's like
It's
it's like,
it's
"Gosh,
out of
tell that
touch
to me,"
reality.
like yeah.
It's this out of touch reality where they're like, "Well, I was able to do this, that, this, and this." You know, you also, I'm like, Yeah, you're not paying 5.75 for a dozen eggs right now, dude. Like, let's be realistic." Or like,
Yeah.
you could go work a job at McDonald's part time or whatever and buy a
Mhm.
charger with a Hemi in it. Good luck doing that
Yeah.
now. You know,
Mhm.
or like college was only $2,000. Da, 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 my whole
Mm,
education. I'm like, dude, we're paying that a quarter.
yeah.
That's the book
My
bill.
favorite um, my dad's a boomer,
Yeah.
and, I think a majority of people we know, their parents are boomers 'cause,
Right. My mom's the
um
boomer too. She's
and
70.
so I always laugh a little bit when, he means well, and that's why I try not to take too much offense to it, but he'll be like, "Why don't you go get your master's?" And I'm like,
Is it gonna benefit me? That's what I say,
and I'm like, "Would I like to get my master's? I would. If I had the money, would
Right.
absolutely go and get my master's, but I'm not pulling out any student loans for a master's, and I'm not gonna take away income from my family just so I can go out and get my
Me and Pal
master's."
were
Like
having this conversation because Pal was considering doing it, right? Because she
mhm.
wants, she just finished, she got her OTA certificate and everything, and she's gonna start working soon.
Yay.
So congrats to her. But like she was thinking about too, was like, should I keep going? And my answer was like, you know what? You find a place to work at that where they'll help you pay for it.
Mhm.
Because have them help you pay for it. If they want you to get it, then
Mhm.
you put it on them to help you pay for it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And when you do go that route, make sure it's a place you wouldn't mind staying at because usually you're locked into some kind of
You're
agreement with them.
locked
Hey, you
in,
got to
yeah.
stay with us for 5 years until the thing's paid off or whatever, or if you
Mhm.
leave, you're paying the difference kind
Mhm.
of deal. So you got to, but like, it's like in layman terms, I was like, find another sucker to pay for it. Like, don't put it out of your pocket. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then we're looking at all these studies now where like these places are not requiring a college 4-year degree. That's driving boomers nuts too. Where it's like, well, I went here and it's like, yeah, but you're also not that's probably not one of the top companies in the world that people want to work for,
Mhm.
you know?
No, it's true. I mean, like, I got my bachelor's. I'm making well, I don't wanna talk about, like, how much I make because
Yeah.
I don't know if I could get in trouble for that. Um,
It'll also just
but
depress everybody.
yeah, I will. Everyone will be like, You're making what? And you're pregnant? Like, do you want a hug?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Here, I'll give you my Venmo." But no, I'm kidding.
Hug this Venmo.
Hook up with this Venmo.
Hug this
But,
Venmo.
my job like, I got my degree in teaching and education, right? I didn't like and when I say, like, I'm teaching now, but it's different. It's not the same as, like, K through 12. Um, but even if I could be making more money if I worked K through 12. Like, if I'm like, "Let me just go
Right.
back and teach 1st grade or 2nd grade," um, the amount of money that I get, like, it would double my current income. However, the stress of it and to see we've talked
It's
about
not
this on
worth
other
it.
podcasts. It's not worth it to me. Like, um, it's just not. And you get a lot of boomers that are like, "Why not just make more? Why not go that way?" And I'm like, because we were raised by a generation of people that would come home after working and like literally be miserable
Hmm.
about their jobs. Why would I want that for my life? And I'm not saying that life isn't hard and it's not, you're not going to have bad days, but at the same time, I don't want to slave away at a job that's just like, sucking out parts of my soul
Yeah.
for
And
money.
then
I think our generation is very much like, money is important, yes, and we want to live, but like that's not like the end all. Like we want to be able to enjoy life to a degree, like have time with our families and our friends and you
it's
know.
weird too because like a lot of people do. There's that whole thing now too where it's like go out and start your own business and build your own thing and da da da. It's like I don't necessarily want that responsibility. I
Yeah.
don't want that.
That was a huge trend, especially during
Yeah.
COVID. Like
And especially if you run into this position where you build up this, you start up this company where you have employees and stuff, I don't want the responsibility of their well-beings in my hands because I
Mhm.
tend to have, a moral compass and I would do everything in my power to pay them correctly and stuff. But like, I don't want I can't handle the responsibility of other human beings' lives in my hands, you know,
Yeah.
like that, you
Because
know.
sometimes things will work against you and you won't be able
Right.
to accommodate
I tend to be one
certain
of those
things.
ones where it's like I'll work for somebody that I like to work for and I feel comfortable working for and they take care of me well and I do a good job for them and I go home at the end of the day and my responsibilities are my own.
Mhm.
And my responsibilities are myself and my family, you
Not
know?
everyone's meant to be like a boss babe or a business guy, you know?
Right, and those people,
Um,
like, you're a lot of them, like, the boss bitches and, like, these people, like or you see them on these TV shows, like, the bar rescues and all that stuff where, like,
yeah.
they hated their job, so they opened a bar. A lot of these people
Mhm.
are because they can't take orders or work with other people, so they, like,
Mhm.
start their own thing and try to, like, be the boss, and then you find out they're horrible bosses that should have never been in
Yeah.
positions of power in the first place, you know what I mean?
Some people are I've seen a lot of TikToks now of people saying like, "I actually like my 9 to 5,"
Yeah,
because it gives them some type of structure and stability.
right.
But I think there needs a balance. Like, do I like my 9 to 5? Yeah, I would say, like, I enjoy where I work. I like where I
Yeah.
work, but is it sustainable financially? No.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
whole complicated thing, but yeah, the snowbirds turned into a whole rant about the generational gap.
well, because it's frustrating to see. And look, I'm not gonna be that person that's like, oh, they don't look. If you've worked hard, I get it. You've worked your whole life. You've raised a family. You want to buy a vacation home with your hard-earned money. Who am I to say like you don't deserve that or like I'm not going to sit here and be very like single-minded about a certain area. You know what I mean? Like if I had millions of dollars saved up, like who's to say that I wouldn't want to go buy a vacation home or a nice vacation, you know? So a lot of the stuff I say is in jest, but with some
I
frustration
have
because like
no
of course I
I
have to
haven't
deal with like
Yeah, I have
them
no
being
problems
here.
I have no problems with people being wealthy, right? Like, I have
Yeah,
no
I've never
problems
had that issue
if you
either.
worked hard and you made money and you were one of the lucky ones and good for you know what I mean? What I do
Mhm.
have a problem with, and I've been noticing this a lot, especially on, like, TikTok or whatever, I'm getting tired of these finance bros that are like investing in real estates or whatever and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And they're using people's hardships for content. I saw one the other
Yeah.
day where this dude bought a house, took it over,
Mhm.
and he had a tenant living in the house.
Mhm.
He gets on the phone, films
I've
it, puts it on
seen
TikTok,
this.
and he's talking about how he's the new owner, he's gonna raise her rent this
I
X
saw
amount.
this. I commented on it and I was like, the fact you made this content is like disgusting.
Right. Okay. If you have to do that, like if your taxes or your bills or whatever require you to raise the rent X amount of dollars to cover those expenses, I get
Mhm.
it. Okay. But to sit there and double this woman's rent, which I doubt your taxes and your inflations and all that kind of stuff are
Mhm.
accommodating or that thing, but
Mhm.
maybe the loan he took out, he needs to do this. But the fact to take it out and put that woman's hardship and make it content and use that for views and all this bullshit and algorithm, gaming
Mhm.
and interaction and all that shit. What does it call it?
Yeah.
It's bullshit. Don't do that
It's
crap, right?
using someone's misery because like we have a severe problem where these corporations or like you said these finance bros are
Yeah.
going out buying multiple pieces of property and that the people that you need actually living in your community, and I always go back to teachers because like it's something I'm very passionate about.
That's what you
you
know.
need you need good quality teachers in your county.
Right.
With everything going on, you need solid education educators for your kids. And so if you are pricing them out to live nearby, they're not going to stay here. Our county alone, I think they were hiring like don't fully quote me on this, but let's say I want to say it was like 1,000, maybe 900, 1,000 teachers they were
So
missing
round
for
it
the
up
new
a
school
thousand
year.
teachers.
Yeah, let's just say 1,000 teachers. That's a lot of teachers that are not in classrooms. If I was like my mom is a teacher. If
Right.
she was not married, if her and my dad like what if they got a divorce, or if my mom was
Right.
a single mom, there is absolutely no way she could afford to live. She could probably not even in an apartment because the rent's been crazy.
Yeah.
Like we were very blessed. Like we just renewed our lease here.
Uh-huh.
Our landlords are not greedy. They raised our rent $70.
Dude, you are so fortunate.
They
For me
raised it.
here, knock
Yeah.
on wood,
Mhm.
I'm in this similar situation where it's,
Mhm.
minimal. The one that freaked me out
Yeah.
was car insurance. I was seeing all these videos about how like people's car insurance went up like 100, $200 or whatever. And I was like,
Oh,
oh
mine
man,
did. Mine did, and I was on Allstate.
you had
I
to
was paying
change
like 180. They wanted to charge me 280 for like the renewal. And I was like, "Are you guys out of your mind? I have no accidents. I have
right
no
inflation
issues." And so they're like, "Well, to adjust with everything going on about I was like, "All right." So I called State Farm. I'm like, "What do you give to like new people that are coming on?" They're like, "You can do $120." I said, "Great.
here.
That's already less than what I'm paying at the moment. So sign me
I
up."
got lucky.
Like,
Mine only went up like $8. I was like, okay, thank God.
oh, that's
$8 is
good.
that's nothing. I was like, okay, cool. Well, I mean, I'd take that to eight. Some people $8 a month or whatever is the deal. That's a probably a utility or something. But like
Right.
to me, it's like okay, that's nothing. I'm okay. But
Mhm.
yeah, these finance bros can literally go shove it up their ass because they get all, and then they go get all upset when the comments don't reach their like they don't get the
I
desired
know.
comments they want. It's like, dude, you
Yeah.
raised this woman's rent up 150%. You're pissed because these people like aren't engaging with your content the way you want it
Right.
to.
And
Like,
the fact that he even recorded her, I always thought that like recording phone conversations was illegal.
depends on the state.
It-
We learned
Oh.
this with the whole Logan Paul thing that was going on, where I don't know if you know about this, but he was doing like some crypto scam or whatever, and
Oh, I don't know about this one. No.
yeah, but like his manager was being recorded, and people were trying to play the argument like, "Well, you can't record the guy." Blah, blah. Well, it depends on what state you're in and the person doing the call.
Mm,
But that's a whole different conversation. But
right.
you
But
know,
I remember I saw that video and I was thinking like this guy actually thought that people
this
would
was
be on
good.
his side. Like, oh, this is going to bring in the views. Like, people are going to be like, yeah, raise your rent, get your coin, bro. And I'm sure that there were people in the comments doing that. But at the same time, I was like, how on earth do you how do you desensitize yourself so much to where, or how are you so greedy that you would take someone's pain and make it content? It blew my
It's
mind.
simple. All they
Like,
see is money. Like they just see like, oh, I can get TikTok views and I can get paid
yeah.
for those TikTok views, and then I can
Mhm.
slap an advertisement in. Some
Mhm.
company will want to like some mortgage company will want to advertise
Mhm.
with us, and we can shout them out when we buy these houses.
Mhm.
Like it's all money. Like in their eyes, it's all
Yeah.
money, and it's like disgusting and it's disturbing. Again, I have nothing against people trying to obtain wealth, but to take
Mhm.
people's hardship like that and put it on the internet for the world to see is
Mhm.
just disturbing and disgusting, and I'm like, "Fuck this guy." I'm cussing now because we're
Yeah.
past the whole YouTube 1 minute mark,
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, "Fuck this guy," right? Like, shove it up your ass, dude. And the whole thing's gonna collapse on them.
Oh, yeah.
And then you notice too, like, California's one of the ones that actually has some of the better rent control laws in the state now,
Mhm.
and these people are like, "Oh, well, da, 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 that's it. It's, like, gonna figure that's not gonna solve the problem." It's like, dude, you're all the ones holding the bag.
Mhm.
You're the ones getting screwed on this deal. That's why you're pissed. You
Mhm.
can't raise the rent 250, dollars a minute because, it
I
doesn't work in your favor.
I saw this TikTok and it was like it was meant to be a funny TikTok, but it's very true. And the guy was going on a rant about like if we're going to be charging 2022, 2023 prices, we better be getting like 2022, 2023 appliances.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want to see the white refrigerator and the white stove and the brown cabinets. Like, and it's crazy to me because it's true. Like when Dustin and I found out I was pregnant, like, and I'm doing like the math in my head, I'm like, this baby's coming in March.
Yeah.
We have to like renew. We have to decide if we're staying here
But you're
because
good and you're
the
comfortable
these
now, right? Like
we're
everything's working out the way you needed it.
everything's working out because but I will tell you I
Oh
was
yeah, no, you were
prepared
scared
for
and
us to
anxiety.
be like I was like on Zillow, I was like on
Oh
apartments.com
yeah,
and
you're
I'm just
freaking out.
like yeah, because it's like time's coming, like this baby's going to come any second. And will I have a home for my son? Like
And look at the bright
and
side though. Look at the bright side
yeah.
because like I know you were stressing about it, but look at the bright side.
Yeah.
You're went up a little bit, right? But your car
Yeah.
insurance also went down. So in the end, you kind
Yeah.
of broke even and you're about the
Br
same.
Yeah,
Aside
we're
from
about the same.
groceries. Aside from
Yeah, well,
groceries,
that's a
obviously, but
that's a whole new, like,
yeah, that's a
the
whole
egg
different can of
situation.
worm, but,
But they could easily the landlords, like, if you look at all the apartments, like, in the area, people are pricing theirs for, like, 16, 17 for a one-bedroom. Our landlords
Girl,
know what they can get for this place.
you wanna know
They
what a one
fully
bedroom in LA is right now?
can I guess?
Take a guess.
I'm gonna say 22.
You're close. It's about 25 to 27 depending on the area
See, I
for a one bedroom.
like the
If
fact
you
that
want
you're
hol
already
like, if you
close
want,
to
like,
3
West
grand, like,
Hollywood if you want, like,
yeah.
West Hollywood, that look
Mhm.
and that lifestyle, you're looking at bare minimum 25.
That's insane to me.
If you want like, if you can do the east part of LA, like, where
Mhm.
I'm n northwest now, but, like, if you wanna do, like, northeast and stuff like that, like, at the border of LA,
Mhm.
you can do 18, 19,
Okay.
but,
That's still like
yeah, it's still a lot, right?
yeah.
But that's a whole different beast for a whole different day. Plus, LA has some very strict rent control laws. They can only go up 3% a year or something like that.
Oh, okay. I don't think we have
That's
any.
LA City. Like LA
Okay.
City, if you live in LA City, it can only go up like 3% or something like that.
Is that
California has
like
a
a state thing or is it like a county law thing?
No,
Like
that's LA City. Like
okay.
if you have an
Okay.
a Los Angeles, California zip code,
Oh, okay. I see
that's
what you're saying.
that's your cap. That's your 3%. You're
Okay.
capped at like 3% if I remember right. If you're in California, it's a 10% cap.
Mhm.
But now some of the counties are starting to institute their own caps because they're actually
Okay.
like in the reality is they're losing revenue because people can't afford
Mhm.
the home, so they don't move to the
Yeah.
neighborhoods. They don't the schools suffer, the community suffer because there's no one going to the coffee shops to buy coffee. No
Yeah.
one's going to the stores to buy stuff. So like
Mhm.
it affects them because people can't afford things. That's how the economy
Mhm.
works, right?
Yeah.
The whole idea is to get people to spend money
Yeah.
to keep it
And so
afloat.
they're not because they're not coming here because they can't live.
They
So
can't afford it. So all these other places are
mhm.
to I thought everyone lived in the street now in Cali. He's not wrong. But it's a rough one. But that's the whole thing aside. What else have you been up to? Because we know you're almost due.
I
You,
am. I'm
you
36 weeks now.
are you scared? Are you scared to be a mom?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Like yeah, because I work with kids, right, for a living. So I see uh kind of like the ins and outs of like parenting and like just, working with different types of kids and it's a joy and it's wonderful. It's a blessing and I love my job. But when you see the hard parts, there are moments where you're like, how on earth am I gonna freaking do this?
It's just like anything else.
Like
You learn.
yeah. Well, like, kids have tantrums, right? It's normal. It's a normal part of development. Like, I know everything. I don't know everything about child development, but my job has me I have a better understanding of child development than like your
Yeah.
average person that has never worked with children, right? So I can recognize when things are developmentally appropriate, like kids are trying to learn to communicate at such a young age. They're not able to yet. Like I know all these things, and even knowing all these things and knowing like what items to get and how to take care of kids, like I feel so unprepared. I'm like, how do I do this? Who am I to be a mother? Like, and as time gets closer, because he could technically come anytime he wants now. Like, I could just be talking to you and be
Oh,
like,
you're on his clock now.
I'm like, babe, listen, you gotta take me to the hospital. Like, we gotta go. So it's scary. I've talked to a lot of people, especially at work, a lot of the women that I work with, and they're like, it's normal to be scared. It's normal to have anxiety about it. But they're like, "You're gonna be a good mom, like, you know what to do, like, you know what to do," and I'm like, "I don't know what to do," and they're like, you once he's here, you're gonna feel like, "Okay, I can navigate this a little bit better." So I am scared. Um, am I fully prepared? I don't I think we have everything we need. I'm taking this approach because, like, one of the worst things is, like, when you're pregnant, your TikTok algorithm, your algorithms in general are like, "You're pregnant? We're gonna give you all this information." Like, remember we talked about how, like, it's just information, information, information. And one thing I've learned about pregnancy is it doesn't matter what view you have
Right.
about items or anything, everything is true. So you're not supposed to be drinking coffee. No, you can drink coffee or you can have Tylenol. No, Tylenol causes autism. You can do this. You
God
can't do that.
damn.
And so let's say like so I don't know if I told you I had ended up in the ER like 3 weeks
Oh yeah,
ago.
you got really sick.
I got really sick, right? And so it's like it was a stomach infection. But I can't keep anything down for 48 hours, right? And so I'm Googling because, like, of course, when you have a baby in there, you're like,
Freaking
is
out.
this freaking out? Like, it's one thing if I have a stomach infection, but to know that there's like there's a life inside of me, he's like fully developed. He's just like chilling in there while I'm like every 2
It's
seconds.
interesting. It's like so
Yeah.
interesting nowadays. We live in this generation now where like
Yeah.
instead of actually calling your doctor to see if you're okay, like the first instinct is to go on the internet and be like, "Is my baby okay?" Internet, and then you have the word work like, "No, your baby's gonna die," and like all
Listen.
kinds of shit. You know, it's like what the fuck, dude? Like,
It's honestly, if like, one day if you like you become a dad and like, you're with your partner and they're pregnant, like the biggest piece of advice I can give is like please help them to not like scroll on the phone. Like it is so like a lot of people are like, "Oh my gosh, like the internet really helped me in how to parent and like
oh
what to
god,
get and what to do." Like I'm so sick of seeing the videos that are like 10 items that you need in your hospital bag, 10 items that you absolutely need to put on your baby registry. I've taken this approach now where I'm like my son will adapt to the life that I give him. Like, I don't wanna spend all this money on toys. We have a couple toys here or there. We have the necessities, but everyone's like, "You need to get this, you need to get this." I'm like, "I don't need to get anything. I just need to make he needs me. When he comes out into the world, he's gonna want me, he's gonna want my husband, and we're gonna take care of him, we're gonna address his physical needs, but I'm not gonna sit here and, buy everything that TikTok's telling me to buy."
no, it's
Um
weird, and I'll be honest with you. For like one of the first times in a long time, I almost
Mhm,
took your approach to life right here. Was like, I need to get off Twitter and get off the internet for a minute
mhm,
because there's a certain situation evolving a certain game and all this kind of stuff, and it's like I'm not
mhm.
going to discuss it because I think the whole topic's been beaten to death or whatever. But
Yeah.
it's just one of
I think
those
we all
things.
know what you're talking about now, like, at this
Right,
point,
so I'm
like
not gonna discuss it here because there's
yeah.
no I don't, and plus I'm one of those people that, my stances are my own, and I
Mhm,
will, make the decisions I make, and but it's just like, I'm gotta get off this thing because people are just chewing each other like, just
mhm.
ripping each other apart, and I'm kinda
Oh,
like,
yeah.
this is out of control, like
Yeah, and like I said, like, um, someone said, like, it was actually, like, a really j they're like, "That's actually a good quote." It's like, on the internet, everything is true.
yeah,
Everything. Like, when I said, like, my OB, she said, "You can take Tylenol, just don't overdo the Tylenol while you're
yeah.
pregnant." Just
Right,
and then on
exactly.
the other side, you read on the internet, there's some doctors that say, "No, it's linked to, like, don't take Tylenol because your child could develop autism." And
Right.
so I'm like,
What am I supposed to
Blah, blah,
believe, you know?
and it's like, I should be focusing on what my OB says. She knows me. She knows my situation. She knows my body. Like, I don't want to live in this like fear mongering thing. And so,
Right.
um, but it's so hard to do. Like, I think everyone gets to a point, and it's interesting you saying you're getting to that point now where you're like, I just can't even like log into social media anymore because it's like, what am I gonna see today? Like, what? It doesn't make you feel good, you
Yeah.
know? It's like, um, but yeah, I'm glad that or I'm almost like intrigued that you got to that point because you usually don't.
It was a
I'm someone
vacation.
like
It was a
yeah,
vacation, so to speak, I
yeah,
took I just stopped paying attention to it over also, what
hmm
Carla's in the chat right now. We were just talking about you, Carla. Carla, I owe you a phone call.
yeah,
Just
Carla. I hope you're doing
yeah,
well.
I owe you a phone call.
Also,
Trust me, I have not, you are in my thoughts and I'm thinking about you actually on a regular basis because, I know what you're going through, but like I do owe you a phone call and I intend to give you that phone call just to make sure you're okay and we can talk. We miss you and we hope
we
you're doing
miss
okay.
you.
And we appreciate you.
Um, we appreciate you. We love you. We hope you're doing okay. And Rick, welcome to the chat too. Like, I thank you for the congrats
Yeah.
for the baby. I
So yeah,
appreciate it.
Carla, when you have just let me know what your week looks like and we'll set aside some time to talk just to converse and see how you're doing. We are at an hour right now. Are you okay? Do you need a baby break?
So it's funny, I'm like messaging Dustin on Discord, right? He's right next to me, and I'm just sending him pictures that say like water, like get me
Yeah.
water.
If
So
you need a
if
if you need a break, say so.
I know, so that's a good time because like I need to fill up on water. I'm like sweating like crazy. It's so hot today,
Is
but
it?
I think
It's
it's
it,
the
it was warm in Cali yesterday. We were like 75 for winter. I'm like, that's cold. But then again, I don't even know if we're winter anymore. I asked Pal, I was like, did the groundhog come out or what?
I think that he saw his shadow, so we technically have.
Oh,
Did
he
the
did?
groundhog see his shadow?
I like how we're like taking this as fact.
I know.
Fuck
On
Twitter.
the
What's the
internet,
groundhog
everything
say?
is true.
Fuck Twitter.
I
What's
know.
the groundhog say?
I
What's the groundhog's opinion
know.
on all this? Yeah. So yeah, go take a break, and
Okay.
I'll be here for a few when you get back, and then I'll take
Okay.
a
Are we
bathroom
able
break
to
myself.
like hide my face because I'm
Oh,
wearing
are we
comfy?
wearing the mom pants?
I'm just wearing comfy pajama pants.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. All right, we're back. So we've been having this snack talk conversation off break here. So speaking of snacks and treats,
I
I
have a
got
donut.
you have a donut? Well, you're going to get excited because I
Hmm.
had the Dole Whip, so you know what that means.
We talking about Disney World or Disneyland? I'm sorry. Let me clarify.
So, yes, I had a Dole Whip. That means I went to Disneyland. So, um
And you were excited about this. I remember it was for your mom.
well,
You were
yes. So
excited.
let me go through this
Yeah.
here. So this is
Go ahead.
part of my where Eric's been for the past 2 months. So, we obviously we Good Friends Good Games took a break for Christmas. This show took a break for the holidays, all that kind of stuff. And then we took time off. So, work was very very generous to me this year. I won't disclose any amounts or whatever. And let's just say I was enough to pay some bills and then get mom a really, really nice Christmas gift. So that Christmas gift to mom this year is we took her to Disneyland during Christmas, which if you've never been to Disneyland during Christmas, it's lit up. It's beautiful. They light up the Main Street. They convert the Haunted Mansion to Nightmare Before Christmas. It's just a beautiful place to be during Christmas. And Eric's a bit of a grump. But one of Eric's Achilles and kryptonites or whatever it is I have a affinity for Christmas. I'm not even the biggest fan of the Christmas holiday, but I do love seeing Christmas lights. I love seeing smiles on kids' faces and all that stuff when they see like Rudolph and Santa's, workshop and all that kind of stuff, and they see elves and the Santa's. I get it hits a
Elf on the
special.
Shelf.
Yeah, it hits a special place in my heart. So Christmas, Disneyland at Christmas is one of the most beautiful places that you can be for a person like that. So we get to Disneyland, or well, we get to Christmas. Mom gets her gift, and she's excited. We printed up a fake Disneyland ticket with her name on it and all that kind of stuff because you don't get tickets anymore.
Nope, all on mobile.
So we went online and we printed up a fake Disneyland ticket. We put her name on it and all this kind of stuff. We got the first gift. We do tier gifts. So like we get a small gift, a medium-sized gift, and then we get a gift from quote unquote Santa. So the medium tier gift was a pair of ears that we had custom made for mom
Hmm.
that had baby Yodas on it, and then it had the pink breast cancer ribbon on it. That was her
Hmm.
custom ears. That was her medium gift. And then she was like, had no idea. She was like, "Oh, how cute!" We played it off. We're like, we just found them
Yeah.
and we thought they were perfect fit for you. Da
Yeah.
da da. We played them off, right? So we give her the envelope that was in the tree, and she opens it up, and the tickets on there says, "I guess you're going to need those years after all."
Hmm.
And then she gets all excited that she's going to Disneyland. So super excited. Time flies by. And we get to Disneyland. Pal and I are going through, and I take full responsibility for this because I was a horrible person to be around trying to plan this thing. You laugh,
Oh
but
gosh.
I genuinely hurt Pal's feelings on a lot of occasions trying to
Oh.
plan this thing. And hindsight's 2020 now, and I realize, okay, that's not cool. Because I try to be a perfectionist in some cases, in a lot of cases where I can't be a perfectionist, right? So I'm trying to plan this stuff perfectly because for those that don't know, my mother is elderly now and she doesn't walk very well. She needs a wheelchair for a lot of things, long distance journeying and all that stuff. She needs a wheelchair.
Mhm.
So we're trying to plan this all out. I'm trying to figure out where to park. what Disney, like, where to go, where do I park? How far is it from here? Do I have to take a walker just to get to the thing? Am I going to
Mhm.
do this, that, this, and this just to get, or how much, how many carts do they have if I need to rent one,
Mhm.
How early do I have to be? All this stuff that goes into case. And like, Pal was like, hey, I know you're trying to make this thing perfect, but it's not going to happen. We don't know every single detail about it. We're just going to have to take it as it goes.
Mhm.
We get to Disneyland and everything's going good so far.
What day is this? Is this the day after Christmas or
The Friday after. So Christmas was on a
okay.
Sunday this past year, I think. So we went on a Friday, I think.
Okay.
We went on a Friday. Like just a couple days before. It was the 30th, so just 2 days before New Year's.
Okay.
Um I didn't want to do a weekend because I knew that was going to be god awful miserable.
Yeah.
So we get to Disneyland. First off, the cost of Disneyland nowadays is insane. Um the average price of Disneyland during the year is about, during the summer it caps at about 150. I think it is 150, 160 bucks, right? I did not pay that. I paid more than that per ticket for Christmas.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah, I'm looking at the prices
it's
now.
pretty expensive to go during Christmas, but mom's like 70 some odd years old. She's not going to, when is she going to be able to do this? When am I going to have the money to do this again, right?
Right.
So I
Mhm.
was like, screw it, I'll bite it and I'm going to do it. So we get to Disneyland. Um Everyone there is very, very nice, the staff and stuff like that. So we get there, we find out where to go to get her on, like they have a little shuttle for her. So you
Mhm.
don't have to wait for the trams. They have a specific shuttle where you can buckle her in and stuff, and she has room to move around and stuff, and she can get to the thing safely, right? We get through all of that. Very well done.
Mhm.
We get to the front, we can rent we get to the line to rent the motorized cart. That goes very well. I feel like the price was fair. I think it's 60 bucks for a day to rent the motorized wheelchair, which
Mhm.
for Disneyland rates doesn't seem all that bad for me. And they're very well taken care of. And then if something breaks down, they bring a new one to you.
Yeah.
So that is okay. And we're working out. That works out fine. Everything, right? We get it. And then I was like, oh, am I going to have to walk her back to the car? And then am I going to have to get in the security again to get on the trams? And I don't know how they do it at Disney World, but in Disneyland, you park, you get to the tram lines, and they put you through the metal detectors and stuff to get on the tram.
Okay.
I don't know how Disney World does it. I can't attest to that, but that's how Disneyland does it. So I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
am I going to have to go back to the car, take the shuttle back to the car, drop off the walker, go through security again, come
Mhm.
back? Am I going to lose a half hour,
Right.
40 minutes just trying to get back from taking the back walker? And the person there's like, no, you can leave the walker here. We'll give you a ticket for it. And I thought, okay, excellent. That
Mhm.
saved me a ton of time
Right.
because we had to get in. Also, I'm going to jump all over on this conversation here, but
No, that's fine.
the purchasing of things like the fast passes and all that kind of stuff, it's very confusing. They're not very clear on what you can do with it. Like I
And that's
thought,
a new system. That's the Genie Plus system,
that's
right?
right, the Genie Plus,
Okay.
sorry. So like it's very confusing on how this works. I thought I could buy the tickets and then buy the Genie Plus like a week later or whatever before we go.
Mm.
But no, you have to buy the Genie Plus either when you purchase the ticket and make the reservation or when you get into the park.
Okay.
You can't buy it in between. Like it's not something I can add on to my thing later, which common sense would be like, "Oh, I just add it later."
Yeah.
Like
That's
parking.
weird.
I need to buy
Yeah.
parking. Like, "Oh, add it
Yeah.
later," right? Okay, you
Mhm.
can't do that. So, I'm rushing cuz I have to get into the park to buy the Genie Plus.
What time did you guys get there? Like,
No,
to paint the picture?
9, I think it is 9 a.m. when they
9?
open. 8. By the
Oh,
time
open, okay.
we got into the parking garage by 8. But by the time you get through the
Okay.
security and everything, it's about
Everything.
8:45, 9 o'clock. By the
Okay.
time we
So
got the
you're
chair,
going, like, opening, like, right when the rope drops, like
we're in at 9. Like
yeah.
after we get the
Okay.
wheelchair and everything, we're in at 9. And then, so like I'm rushing to get in there to get Genie Pass because Genie Pass sells out.
It does?
Oh yeah, there's a cap on Genie Pluses. Like they'll sell X amount at the time of the day.
I did not know that.
Yeah, because if everyone that has a reservation gets a Genie Plus, it defeats the purpose of
Yeah,
the Genie Plus system, and then people don't
that's
buy it.
true. Yeah.
So like, there's a cap, but okay, we get in, we get to the Genie Pluses, we're good, we're like relieved, right? We go to the lockers to get all this stuff dropped off. I'm like, Eric's coming here for one reason. I'm like, we are going straight to Star Wars Land because I want to get it done early and get it out of the way
Oh
and
yeah, I
experience
would
it,
tell
right?
anyone to do that, even if
Yeah.
you're going to Disney World.
Yeah, we're going to Star
Star
Wars
Wars.
Land. I was like, Mom, I love you and everything. We will see Main Street on Christmas in a little bit, but we are going straight to
Yeah.
Star Wars Land, right? So
Hmm.
we go to Star Wars Land, we make it there, and then we get in line for Rise of the Resistance, which is, the hot new ride or whatever. We
Hmm.
get to the last two corners of turning around the thing, the ride breaks down.
Are you
So I just wasted
serious?
an hour and a half standing in line. And we're like, okay, we've been here an hour and a half. We'll wait 20, 30 minutes. Let's see if they just open it up, right? Well, then all the lights come on, the music stops for the ride or whatever. And then they're like funneling us through real quick. I'm like, they're kicking us out of here. Something's really wrong. So they're like, we're sorry, da 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 da. Here's a free Genie Plus pass. You can only use 2 Genie Pluses at a time
Okay.
to put your reserves in.
Right.
And then I was like, okay. So they gave us an extra one as a courtesy. Like, here's a Genie Plus. What do they call it? Pals in the chat here. I forget what they call it, but like a lightning lane. Here's the lightning lane
Okay.
you can apply to your Genie Plus and reserve a time to get on the ride. If you don't know what a lightning lane is, you reserve an hour block where you can go in and get on the ride. So like, oh, I'm setting it for 1 to 2 p.m.
Hmm.
And then it'll be like, okay, show up between 1 to 2 p.m. and you can get on the ride at a shorter time frame. So I'm like, okay, cool. So they gave us an extra one. I was like, all right, whatever, right? So then we're like in Disneyland, Star Wars Land's next to New Orleans Square, Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean, or whatever,
Hmm.
right? It starts raining. And we're like, oh crap, here we go. We knew it was possibly gonna rain. We didn't know how bad it was gonna be, but it's raining decent, like uncomfortable, but not like, oh God,
Hmm.
And we're dealing with it. We got ponchos. Pal and I came prepared. We had ponchos because we were not going to pay $15 for some Magic
No.
Kingdom poncho. Screw that. So we got ponchos. We're covered. We get to the Haunted Mansion. We don't know where to go with Mom because she's in the wheelchair. So we go talk to this person. This person's like, oh, and I'm waiting 10 minutes to talk to this person. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. You have to go over to this other line. We go to that other line. That person's like, oh, no, you're in the wrong line. You have to go back talk to that person. I'm like, that's the person we just talked to. And she's like, oh, well, let us walk you over. Now I'm frustrated
Yeah.
because I'm
You're
wasting
wasting time at this point.
right. So I'm getting frustrated. I'm getting really, really upset. And then finally the lady was like, oh, okay. Da 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 da. Here you go. They give us a lightning lane, basically. Like, come back at this time. That's your
Mm.
weight. If you carry a handicapped person with you, that is your
Mhm.
weight.
Okay.
You come back at 1 to 2. That
I
means you
s
come back and you waited
Right.
and we'll let you
Right.
in. That's how it works. So I'm like, okay. So I waste 20, 30 minutes doing that. And now I'm getting frustrated because now I'm going through the app. This is cool. I will say Disneyland does this thing with the app where you scroll through it and it'll tell you the conditions of all the rides at that given time. This is
Mhm.
down, that's up, da 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 da. I'm looking at the thing because it's raining. Um, Star Tours is down. Thunder
Wow.
Mountain is down. Splash Mountain is down. Now I'm just angry and I'm furious. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck am I paying for? Like, I paid all this
Right.
money just to look at a bunch of rides that are down, right? What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Stand in New Orleans Square and fart? Like, yeah, I'm having a great time. And Pal's getting really, really upset with me because I'm kind
Yeah.
of taking it out on, instead of taking it out on the situation, she's catching the grunt of it,
Right.
you know? And
Mhm.
Pal is trying to make it better. Like, she tried to go, bless her heart, she tried to go get me a churro and like make me feel better. I was like, I don't want a
Aw.
damn churro. Like, I just want to get on a ride because by this time it's
Mhm.
noon
Wow.
and we haven't been on a ride yet. So Pal's upset. Mom's not, obviously she shouldn't, but she's starting to feel guilty because we went through all of this trying to make a good time for her and whatever. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to go take a walk.
Yeah.
Stay here with Mom. I'm going to go take a walk.
Yeah.
And then I go and I clear my head a little bit and I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, okay, this says I come back between 1 and 2. So I go to Pirates. I said, hey, my mom's in a wheelchair. How does this work? He says, we'll give you a pass. You come back at this time. I said, okay, great. What times do you have? Oh, we have 2 to 3. I
Mhm.
collect a ticket for that ride. Then I go
Mhm.
to on the app and I get a lightning lane. I'm like, oh, I have a spare lightning lane. I'll go. Star Tours comes back up. And I'm
Mhm.
like, I set Star Tours for 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock.
Okay.
So now I'm getting them just knocked out, lined up,
You're
lined up.
right.
I'm planning out a whole schedule because I have the times
Mhm.
I can show up. I'll get on this one, go straight to this one, boom, 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 and we get them knocked out.
Mhm.
Now things start getting a little more exciting. We get on the Haunted Mansion. Mom loves it. She's excited. Da 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 da, and we're having a good time. Then we get to Pirates, and now she's starting to get nostalgia because she's on Pirates
Mm.
again and all this stuff, and
Yeah.
she's having a good time, and I'm starting to have a good time.
Mhm.
We get all the way through this stuff. We get to Thunder Mountain. No, Star Tours. Not Star Tours. What's the
Mhm.
other one? Space Mountain. We get to
Mhm.
Space Mountain, and now I'm like, okay, we're getting on Space Mountain. Let's do this, right? And then I get in there and I realize with Pal, I'm like, Mom is 70 years old. Is this ride gonna take out my mother? Is like my mom gonna have a heart attack and go at Disneyland?
And if Mountain is anything similar to like Disney World,
Yeah.
out of the mountain rides, it's the most intense.
It throws you around pretty
Yeah.
hard. Like it
Yeah, and
throws you
it's
around pretty
dark, so
good.
you don't have a sense of like which way you're going.
Or what's coming, right? You don't know
Yeah.
where it's gonna
Mhm.
drop or whatever. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, if she's going down, she's going down to Disneyland. Happiest place on earth, you know. This will be a
God,
hell of a
Erik.
story. But she gets on Space Mountain and it hits you pretty
Mhm.
hard, like boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, look, I'm like,
Mhm.
we gotta check. Mom, are you okay? Are you okay? You breathing okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm having a great time. We're like, and you know, moms being moms, like, oh yeah, I'm fine. Don't
Yeah.
worry about me, honey. And I'm like, no, I'm like, you need to tell me if you're having a problem.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I promise, I assure you, I'm okay. I'm just catching my breath. Because I was like, she's gonna have a heart attack and we're gonna
Right.
have a problem, right? And then
Right. Oh my god.
yeah, but she's okay. She makes it. She
Okay.
survives. She's like, I got tossed around a little bit, but I'll be okay. And then we put her back in the chair and we go
Mhm.
through all this stuff. We get to like Space Mountain. I get on Star Tours. I'm like a little kid again. Although I miss the old like 80s Star Tours with the original like
Mhm.
video and all that kind of stuff, which if you're a
Yeah.
Star Wars nerd, they have used some of those droids and stuff in the new TV shows like Mandalorian and stuff. If you pay
Oh,
attention,
that's
it's a
cool.
nice little homage. So like
Yeah.
Star Tours is fun. I have a good time there. And then we get to we start planning stuff out again, and then we get to the evening, we eat lunch, all this stuff, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go for it. We're gonna go back to Star Wars Land. My timing frames around are mixed up a
You're
little
trying
around.
to Are you trying to get back on Rise
Yeah,
of
I'm
the
trying to get back
Resistance?
on
Okay.
Rise now, so I'm like, we're gonna go for it
Okay.
again. Um, I had already seen it earlier in the day when we went to Star Wars Resistance, but I saw the Millennium Falcon, like the big Millennium
Yeah.
Falcon, and I'm kind of sitting there and I'm a little sniffly, like, you know, because that's literally part of my life, that shit you dream of when you're a little kid.
Yeah.
To see the
That's
Millennium
like your
Falcon.
that's your inner child being like,
Yeah,
"Wow," like
and then but, oh, it gets trust me, it gets more intense. So, like, we get on Rise again, we make it, thank God. Like, we get in and I'm like,
okay.
"Okay, we're going on this thing," right?
Yeah.
Rise of the Resistance, I don't know if you've been on it,
I
but
have, yes.
Rise of the Resistance is probably one of the most advanced rides I had ever been on in
Mhm.
my thing of going to theme parks or whatever. The way that they set this up in an interactive environment is incredible, down to where they do not even break character.
Mhm.
Basically, spoiler alert, if you've never been on Rise of the Resistance, it's a interactive ride where you get on and you go through these scenarios and you basically live like you're living the part of the show or the movie.
Mhm.
You are part of the Resistance, which is the good guys, and you get kidnapped by the First Order, which are the bad guys.
Mhm.
Um, you get on this little room and there's BB-8 and he's doing all these little, you know, calculations and stuff, and you got like the smile on your face and my mom's smiling or whatever. And then you have Admiral Akbar, who's the fish face looking dude, and he says, oh
Mhm.
god, something's happening. And then your ship gets stalled. This dude opens the back door because everyone's
Mhm.
facing the other side of the room. The dude
Mhm.
opens the back door. There's a First Order bad guy standing there. He said, you guys shouldn't have betrayed us.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell? My mom's all like, is this the ride? And then that dude opens the door and now she's like, oh. And then you know how they kind of navigate you down to the cart area. He
Mhm.
does not break character. He's being very stern. He's like, you stay in line, da da da. But then he points to my mother and he says, this unit needs to stay on the right hand side. He does not
Wow.
refer to he does not refer to,
Yeah.
he does not go, ma'am, do you need this or do you need that?
Right.
He says, ma'am, he says, this unit needs to stay on the right hand side. And then my mom's like, what's he saying? I said, Mom, he's basically telling you that's the way you go. He's not breaking character, but he's telling you
Right.
that's where
No.
you need to go
Yeah.
and bring your cart. And she's like, oh, okay. So she follows along. And they take us to that room with
With
all
the
the
stormtroopers.
stormtroopers. And
And it's quiet and
yeah,
you're just like,
I'm just in
drinking it
awe.
in.
I am just
Mhm.
in awe because aside from being, like, on a set or something, like, you'll never see anything like that
No,
unless
'cause
you're at,
it
like, a huge convention or something, right? So I'm
the
in awe.
immersion is
Pal and I are
insane.
taking pictures. I'm like,
Yeah.
"I'm a stormtrooper." Like, I'm like a little
Yeah.
kid, right?
Mhm.
And then, I get all excited, and then we go into the room where you're, like, in the containment chambers or whatever, and the
Yeah.
dude's, like, going through what you need to do, da 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 da, and then you see, like, Kylo Ren and them at the top. But then, like, my mom wanted to stand for this part. She's like, "No, I can stand." She wanted to experience it. She's like, "I'm gonna stand." So she's standing and she's leaning against the wall to kinda keep herself, balanced
Mhm.
and comfortable. And then you see, like, the cutout from the laser cut out the door, and then the dude's
Yeah.
like, "Hey, you guys need to pick up." And then I'm like, "Oh, that's the good guys."
Yeah.
So, like, now the good guys come to save you, and then they're rushing you like, "Hey, come on, let's go. Get in the ship, get in the ship." And it's all
Mhm.
in character.
Yeah.
Mom's back in her cart, and then she's wheeling the cart through or whatever, and then they take you through all this stuff, and then, oh, no, this comes after the guy cuts the door, then you walk to the room where you get in the carts,
Mhm.
the actual ride
There's a lot
carts.
of layers to this
Yeah,
ride.
it's
Yeah,
incredible.
there is.
So,
Mhm.
like, you walk over, and then you get into these, like, to the carts, and then mom gets in the cart, and she's like, he's like, "This, you get in the front," you know, um,
Mhm.
or he said something. I forget what he's like, precious cargo in the front or something like that. And then he
Mhm.
points to us and he tells us to get in the front row. I guess it fits her better or something.
Mhm.
And then you go on this thing and you go through this whole thing. And then you get to the room where you see the big AT walkers. And
Mhm.
then
Yeah, I remember that.
that's where I start to flutter in the heart a little bit. Because
Mhm.
for those that don't know, one of my favorite things in Star Wars ever is in Empire Strikes Back. If you've ever seen it, that's when they're in the snow speeders and they have to tow hook the
Mhm.
walkers and trip them. Ever since I was a little kid, that's like been one of my dream things to do is like trip big walkers, right, in a speeder. So I see the big walkers and I want to cry because now I'm like, never in my life did I ever think I'd see that like in real life. Never. And I'm like
Wow.
sniffling and all this kind of stuff. And then it does the drop, like, it puts you in the bay, and then you drop, and you feel that,
Yeah.
and then it sends you down, and then you crash land in Endor, and it, like, air out the door, and it
Mhm.
looks like you're in Endor. It's one of the most beautiful experiences I think I ever felt in my life. Star Wars is important to me because it reminds me a lot of my dad. My
Mhm.
dad used to, like, rent me the movie all the time when I was a little kid, and then we would go to, like, look at Star Wars stuff when I was a kid. It means a lot. Dad loves Star
Yeah.
Tours and all that kinda stuff, so it reminds me a lot of my dad, and it means a lot to me. That's why things like it sounds stupid to a lot of people, like, "It's just a ship, dude." I'm like, "You don't understand, like, this is stuff I grew up
Nah.
with." There's people that
No,
watch
yeah.
things like Star Wars and decide they wanna be pilots when
Mhm.
they grow up, you know?
Yeah, that's
Like,
a lot of the things you see in the kids as kids
yeah.
shapes your, it's that sense of like awe.
Like,
Like, I
yeah.
mean, I'm not even like a Star Wars girly. Like,
Yeah.
I like Star Wars, but like, you're not gonna catch me like
Right.
obsessing over it, like, um, but I can even acknowledge, like, if you're like a hardcore fan,
Yeah.
that would make anybody cry. Like, any hardcore fan just like
Right.
weep.
Because, like,
Like,
you're a guy my age and you're 40, going to hit 40 or whatever. You never thought in your life you would see something like that in real life. Like, it's
oh
just a
yeah,
movie. It's just a movie, right?
yeah,
You never thought you would see it
hmm
in real life because it's real. Like, it's tall. It's a
hmm
physical structure that was built. Someone built those 50 stormtroopers and had them stand there and all that. It's incredible.
hmm it
And
is.
kudos to Disney, whether you think about those movies that they made or not, who cares? Like, but the way they're handling the Star Wars like thing and make the children have it so good nowadays to experience this stuff because I never
They
thought I would
do.
see that. But I got on the ride, and then we get on Thunder Mountain, and this is another one of me and Pal's smart decisions. We're like thinking after mom gets in the cart, that's the roller coaster, that's the train,
hmm
and we're
That's
like,
an outdoor one.
me and Pal are like, oh shit, is she gonna survive this one? No, she survives Thunder Mountain just fine. I told her, I said,
Uh,
press, push against that bar,
hmm
not the lap one, but the one that's in front of you. I was like, just push and brace yourself against the seat, and it won't
hmm
throw you around that much. And she survived. She's like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm good. I'm good. And then
Wow.
we get on Indiana Jones, and I was like, we're making a lot of poor decisions for this woman. We get on Indiana Jones, that just throws her around. And then we're like, okay, it's getting ready. It's the end of the night. We're getting ready to start planning our exit from this place because
Mhm.
leaving Disneyland is worse than leaving Hollywood on Friday. Screw that.
You wanna make sure you do it either before fireworks or you leave during
We're
fireworks.
starting to we planned for about an
Mm.
hour to be at Main Street to get out.
Okay.
Like 11 at night, we were at Main Street ready
Okay.
to get out. But like, we're like, Mom, what do you want to do before we leave? You know, because we're gonna say goodbye to Disneyland. Mom's like, oh, I kind of wanted to go on what's that one, Small World, and I'm just like,
You're like,
oh
"Damn
no,
it."
oh no, no.
But that's a classic.
I
Small
go.
World, you have to go
I'm
once.
like, this is her Christmas present. We have to go to
Yeah.
Small World. So we take her to Small World. And I will say, I hate that ride with a passion. I think it's the dumbest ride
Oh,
ever.
Dustin hated it too.
But they light it up at Christmas, and it's one of the most beautiful
Mhm.
things you see. It's all bright and colorful, and it looks like old school Christmas with the big Christmas light bulbs and stuff like that. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, fine. We get on there, we get through Small World, and they change it around. I start making jokes. Like, we go through the little Mexican world. I'm like, where's Coco? And there's no Coco or whatever, you know. And then what did I say? Oh yeah, we go through like Africa. I was like, yo, Wakanda, right? And something like that. I'm like making jokes. And there's Pal's like, knock it off. And I'm like, okay, cool. So we get to Small World, and then we make our exit, and it was a long day. But
How now I
Disney,
have to ask, how was the Dole Whip? Because you had never had Dole Whip.
I give it about a 7. I give it about a 7. It's not the most
Mhm.
like greatest thing I've ever eaten. I would not
Right.
pay like to go back into Disneyland just to eat one of these things.
Yeah.
Would I grab one when I'm there? Yeah, probably if I'm in the mood and it's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was good. Um, I will say Disneyland's navigation and handling of disabled is incredible.
Mhm.
They have everything down to a T. Like, you
Yeah.
go here, we run you through here. Like, everything is down to a T, and everyone was very, very helpful, with the exception of the chick on Thunder Mountain. She was kind of rude. Sounded like she didn't want to be
Yeah.
there. I'm like, okay, whatever, go have a smoke. Like, but other everyone has very, and the lady at the beginning with the haunted mansion that didn't have any idea
Yeah.
where we're supposed to be going. But like, handling of the way they handle the disabled and the process of getting them on and off the rides, it's seamless. It
Yeah.
really is
They have
seamless.
it down to a science.
It's incredibly, even my mom was incredibly impressed with like how they handled her, and
Mhm.
how they, especially the Star Wars thing where they don't jump out of the character, they don't single you out. Like,
Mhm.
she was very, I was very, very gracious for that. I will have to say though, I think one of the biggest problems I have with Disney, because when I was growing up, Disneyland was like a once every 5 years type of thing, right? You
Mhm.
go once, you wait a few years, you go back, and it's all experience again. Um, the nickel and diming of stuff. Now I don't know which projects of this are like Bob Iger or whoever the guy was that replaced them,
Mhm.
and now it's Bob Iger. I don't know who's in
Yeah.
charge, like who made these decisions or whatever, but the nickel and diming of everything at Disneyland is getting a little preposterous.
I think a lot of it, um, I mean, it could have been. I know that things got a little bit out of hand when Chapek was CEO,
Yeah,
which he was the one that. So Iger was there. Iger retired.
right.
Chapek came in, I think, right either at the tail end of COVID or whatever. I can't remember like the dates, but Chapek came in. From my understanding, and do people do your research because I'm not sure, but like from my understanding, Chapek was so focused on Disney Plus as like the moneymaker,
Yeah.
which I've heard that it hasn't really made
No,
Disney
because
much
the
money.
licensing and everything they're paying for to
Yeah.
get some of this stuff, but
Um that he was so focused on Disney Plus and he started to like really raise the prices. Like Disney World, I think Dustin and I were talking at one point, they raised the Florida residents, was it Florida residents to 170 or something like that? It was something insane. And when I had taken Dustin to Disney World in 2019, so this is pre-COVID, this is
yeah.
right before the pandemic, September of 2019, um, I think like it was like 70 something, 80 something dollars
I
for Florida
noticed too, because
residents.
when I did, so California, I don't, this could be on par, this could be more, I don't know. So like, we looked at the prices before Christmas, like up until November, whatever, right?
Mhm.
just I think it's a week before Thanksgiving. Up until then, the prices are about 160 on the weekend. And I'm like, okay, it's a weekend, makes sense, right?
Mhm.
November, that week of November, all the way up until January 8th, the ticket price is 180 for one park, no matter what.
And that's not even park hop. Well, do you guys have
No,
extra
we
parks
have
there?
park hoppers, but they charge you
Okay.
more. You get a little
Okay.
bit of a cut by doing the park hopper, but
Mhm.
it's 180 to go to one park, plus the $30 to park, plus then the lightning lane on a desirable day, because the lightning lane price fluctuates, or the Genie Plus
Oh,
price fluctuates
I
depending on
didn't even know it
demand.
fluctuated. Oh.
So that peaks at $30. So it's $30 per ticket to get lightning
Mhm.
lane or to get Genie Plus. Some of the rides you can't do lightning lane.
Yeah.
Or some of the super high demand rides, if they decide to do it, they will charge you specifically for the lightning lane on top of your Genie Plus. So if you bought $30 Genie Plus and you want to get on Rise of the Resistance at peak time of the day, they can charge you $20 to lightning lane it on top of already what you paid. And I was like, this is absurd. Like, the pricing for all this stuff is absurd.
The
Just
last time I was at Disney World was with my family. I don't remember the exact date. I think it was like around maybe May or something for my sister's birthday. This was 2021. Um, Genie Plus had not been implemented yet. It was still
yeah,
Fast Pass.
right.
So every person got 2 Fast Passes. Okay. And like you said, some rides you could not use a Fast Pass on. Like well, what was it? Rise of the Resistance. You couldn't use that, but they had a queue system on the
Yeah,
app.
right.
So my sister woke up at like 6:30 in the morning, right when it launches. She grabbed us the 4 spots, and then like we were able to go on Rise of the Resistance. But you can't use a fast pass for a lot of the newer rides, like the new
Yeah.
Tron roller coaster. I think that's opening up
Dude, I
in
want to go on the Tron
March.
cart, the light bike.
Um, do they have that over in the
I
California?
don't think I've seen it here now.
Okay, so it's opening in March in Disney World. So guarantee you you're probably not going to be using Genie Plus. You're probably going to have to do a queue system.
Yeah.
At least I'm assuming.
To pay,
Um,
and then you're paying for the lightning lane to get on that thing.
yeah, which I mean, honestly, I'm kind of the person like as much as I want to get on the Tron
Yeah.
cycle ride, if I'm going to Disney like last 3 times like or 3 times before I can't even talk.
Yeah.
They opened up what's it called? Pandora,
Yeah.
the Flight of Passage.
Mhm.
I was there with my family and like we all kind of collectively agreed we're not going to get on that because it had just opened. Like probably within the month, like we weren't even going to waste our time trying to get on that.
Yeah.
We wanted the hype to die down and everything, and then after when we ended up going like a couple years later, hype died down a little bit. We were able to, I was able to get on it with Dustin. Um,
It's a lot, dude. It's a lot
it's
to just take
there's a
in.
lot of planning.
Yeah,
I give you credit for being there for like 12 hours though, because
I will say
or more than that
I will
technically.
say the app system is very, very helpful. I can see which rides are down. I can see
Yeah.
which ones, I don't want to waste my time going. Or I don't have to walk all the way over there just to see that it's down.
Mm,
And
yeah.
I can like plan around where I'm in and the app system is great and all that kind of stuff. So I kudos to them for that. But yeah, the nickel and diming is just getting out of control. And then
It is.
it's hard to say because and like again back to nickel and dime because now they're doing the California residents. Before the California resident thing, it used to be like half off or something like that, right? If you
Mhm.
wanted to go to Disneyland, you were a California resident, it's like half off. Just show us your ID, we'll give you that price, right? Now the California resident deal is half off, but you have to buy 3 days.
Oh.
So like you have to go to the park 3 days to get the $75 price
But
rate.
that almost doesn't make sense to me because like you
To
get
us, it
Disney
doesn't
gets
make sense.
because Disney gets a lot of their money from local residents.
Right.
Like, and not everyone's gonna. Some people just want to go. Oh, I just want to go for a Saturday and
No, I
like,
think honestly, I mean, I could be wrong on this. I'm not a Disney business expert by any means, but I could imagine that their big portion of their revenue is the pass holders in California because they keep
do
raising the
they
passes up. The yearly passes keep going up. My brother and sister-in-law have them.
Did they get rid of dining plans for you guys? Did you even have dining plans in California?
Maybe, maybe I don't
So
remember.
the last few times we've been at Disney World, like we have not gotten the dining plan because they removed it. So essentially, what the dining plan is like there are 4 tiers of dining plans, and like the we usually get like the second one, which means you get 2 quick service meals, 1 sit down dinner, and like 2 snacks.
That would be very helpful.
Yes, and so you just pay an upfront fee. If you end up going over that, like let's say you like a quick service meal would be like, I'm gonna get a hot dog at like, a vendor over here,
Right,
or
and you
it's
get a
gonna
hot
be
dog and
like,
a churro or whatever,
yeah,
and
yeah. Well, churro would count as like a snack, so that's like one of your snacks for the day.
yeah.
Like you would only be paying out of pocket if like let's say you had 2 snacks, but you really wanted a third, you'd be paying for that third, and
Mhm.
it's tracked through your
Your
Magic
band
Band,
thing?
your card. Um, they got rid of that during COVID, and so like freaking water bottles, sodas, like food is so expensive at Disney World, and I get it. Like I get it.
We found
You
Di
know,
I asked my brother because my brother's becoming, like, a Disney expert because they have the year passes,
yeah.
and he was like, "Oh, you wanna go to this Mexican restaurant that's in Frontierland or whatever,"
Mhm.
and we're like, "Okay, cool." We look at the prices, and it was average about 15 to 20 bucks a person. Like, this was a burrito with,
Yeah.
a side and stuff like that.
Mhm. Oh,
For
yeah, that's not
Disneyland
too bad.
prices, I'm like, "This is fair,"
Yeah.
you know? $15 for one cheeseburger, no fries, no nothing like that. That's a problem to me,
Mhm.
right? But like,
Yeah.
20 15 20 bucks for a whole burrito with a drink and all that stuff. Okay, yeah, that's Disneyland
Yeah.
price rate, but it was a good sized burrito and I was satisfied with it. Speaking of food, I marked an item off my bucket list.
Oh, yeah, we
While
gotta
I'm
talk
on
about that.
vacation, I marked an item off my bucket list. I have finally eaten at a Gordon Ramsay restaurant and I've waited a decade to eat a beef Wellington. Now,
And he sent me the pictures. They
people
were
could be like, "Why didn't you just make your own beef Wellington?" Da, 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 da. Well, I can't make my own beef Wellington and know if I made a good one or not unless I've had one to compare it to. Like,
Mhm.
I need to know what it's supposed to taste like to know if mine's good or not.
Right.
So Pal and I had to go to a wedding. They decided to have it in Vegas. I'll be honest, I didn't really want to go to this wedding. I had just gotten my promotion. I was trying to work.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, not take time off. I'm trying to be the good
Yeah.
employee, right? So I'm like, I don't really
Mhm.
want to go, but like and that turned into a issue too. Like that turned into a squabble.
Mhm.
So, we worked that out and I was like, um it's not that I didn't wanna go to the wedding and not be part of their experience. It's just like I had just gotten this promotion and I was like, I don't wanna
It was
really
just the
take time.
timing.
Yeah, it's
Like,
timing. It was a very
yeah,
much of
no, I
timing thing. I was
understand.
like, I got this promotion going. I don't know if I wanna do this, I wanna do that, right? I'm trying to be a good employee. That's honest. That is a swear honest answer.
Mhm.
Um, but I was like, I make Pal the commitment. I was like, you know what? Okay, I assure you, I will be at the ceremony. I can't necessarily guarantee I will be at the thing because I had to work that night. I can't
Mhm.
necessarily guarantee I'll be at the reception the whole time, but I can guarantee I'll be there for the ceremony. And I told work
Mhm.
that, and everything worked out. But I was like, I'm going to Vegas. I'm going to be there.
Mhm.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to pay the money, and I'm going to go to Gordon Ramsay, and I'm going to eat a beef Wellington because they don't have them in California. There's no Gordon Ramsay restaurant in California.
Mhm.
It's only Vegas right now. That's the closest to me. So I'm like, I'm going to do it. So I get things worked out with work. We leave California like at noon to get to Vegas by 4.
Mhm.
I just need any Gordon Ramsay restaurant to get this beef Wellington, right? So I'm going through all of them in Vegas. Well, we land at Hell's Kitchen. That's the only one that had reservations open at a reasonable time, like 6 o'clock. So I was like, okay, we're doing it. We leave California at 4 noon. We get to Vegas by like 4:30. And we're there, and then we get dressed, and we look nice, and we're like, we're going, and then we get to Hell's Kitchen, and it looks like the TV show. Like there's red and
Oh, it
blue and
does?
all, yeah, red and blue and all this kind of stuff, right? And I'm like, oh, this is pretty rad. We go and we sit, and this is like, I'm not a big like foodie. If I'm any kind of
Mhm.
foodie, I'm like more into like burger joints and stuff like that are
Yeah.
doing things like that, right?
Yeah.
Good burgers and pizza and stuff like that. I'm not like a gourmet restaurateur type of thing.
Mhm.
So, but they go and we sit us down, and like the dude's very, very friendly, incredible waiter, very friendly. And he's explaining everything to us. You guys watch the show? Oh, great. You can see this is the theme of the restaurant. We mimic and all that stuff. And they're actually not competing with each other, but one side's making one thing, the other side's making the other, and all this kind of stuff.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, cool. Great. And then this was weird. Pal looked at it kind of weird too, but the guy's like, "Oh, sir, your napkin." He takes the napkin off the table and he puts it on my lap. And I'm like, sir, like, please, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Sir, please." And, and then
That's it. That's the end of the story. Like
yeah, like, "Sir, please stop." But like, no, they start bringing out our food, and everything's timed very, very well
Yeah.
between the pace of what you're getting in your food. I ate the
Mhm.
famous scallops that everyone burns on the
Mhm.
TV show, and those taste fantastic. Pow takes a bite of them. She don't even like fish. And she's like, "This is pretty good." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's
Nice.
great." And then it comes. I'm rushing this story a little bit because of time, but like it comes and the dude sets it on the table, and I'm just like, "Oh."
The beef Wellington?
Yeah, it's cut like perfectly in half, and the sauce
Yeah,
is
you
like
showed me the
around the
picture.
potatoes. They even
It
did that
looks
little
so
smear thing
good.
with the potatoes, like to make
Yeah.
it look pretty. And I was like, "Oh my god, babes, it's here!" And then me and Pau just like we're like taking pictures with it and everything. And
Yeah.
Hannah got some of those pictures, obviously.
Yeah, I did. It looked delicious.
And then I just eat, like I start cutting into this thing, and I'm like, I'm like, this is one of the best things I've ever eaten.
Is
Like
it,
it
like,
true.
tender like butter? Like, did you just, like, cut that thing
My
and it
knife was
just
a little dull. I will
Uh-huh.
say my knife was a little dull, so it kind of tore the meat a little bit. But
Yeah.
when you chewed, like it just chewed like
Wow.
melts, right? Um, Fantastic. And I was like, oh, this is so good. And like I'm pacing myself. It's one of those things where it's like you want to savor it because like you never know you're gonna get it again.
Yeah.
But it's so damn good that you're just like, you know,
No, I get it.
yeah. And I'm like,
It's
oh
a
my God,
food
this is great.
experience.
Yeah. I'm very picky with food too. So I was like, oh, this is so good, right? I'm happy, I'm content. But then um they bring us dessert and it looks like a chocolate cake. And I'm like, okay, cool. It's got chocolate cake, it's a little tres leche ice cream on top. I'm
Mm.
like, okay, cool, right? It's a cake. So I take a bite and I look at Pal and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Because it is like savory and warm and moist and
Mm.
like just melty,
Mhm.
like soft cake, right? You know, cake when it's
Right.
just fresh and hot.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And it's
it,
just warm and, like,
yeah.
it's moist.
Yeah, and yeah, moist, and I'm just like, oh. And I finished the cake. Pal wasn't the biggest fan of the cake. She said it was a little rich for her taste or whatever. And I'm like, okay, you do you, girl. I'm going.
Now, let me ask you, are you ordering these things or do you come in and they just
I'll get to
it's
that.
like a standard
I'll
okay.
I'll get to that because that's actually pretty neat how they did that. And then the guy comes back, takes our stuff. He's like, "How was the meal, etc." He explained to us that the cake had little to no chocolate in it. It was actually made of dates.
That's insane. When you told me that, I was like, I'm glad, like, he didn't tell you. Like, if I went and they say, "Oh, it's a date cake," I would already be like,
Right.
"I don't know how it's gonna taste." Like,
Yeah.
you know?
But now pricing and so the real pain of this journey comes now with the pricing and whatever.
I was gonna ask that one.
So
The damage.
the beef Wellington itself is about $75.
Okay.
But when Pal and I were looking at the menu, they actually had this thing where you can get like a three-course meal, the appetizer, the beef Wellington, and
Yeah.
the dessert, and it's $92 or something like that. So
Oh,
me and Pal looked at it and we're like, we're actually saving money by buying the three-course.
yeah.
So we bought the three-course. And that's how we got it. It was like a 95 some odd bucks for the three courses, which realistic
Mm,
because the scallops alone are 20 some odd bucks. Beef
right.
Wellington 75, and then the cake is probably another 15 bucks or
Mhm.
whatever. So like it makes sense to pay the 90.
Right.
So that was good. Um and then we got two of those. And then obviously there's tip and all that kind of stuff.
Mm.
Where they really got me and it pisses me off. Me and Pal made a bet on this. I was like, guess how much let's take a guess how much they're going to charge me for my Diet Coke. How much do you think they charge me for a Diet Coke?
I wanna say most places would charge you, like, 275 for a Diet Coke, 265.
You want to know how much I paid for a
I'm
Diet
gonna
Coke?
s I'm gonna say $5?
You were close. They charged me $6 for a Diet Coke.
That's so crazy. I mean,
Oh,
like,
yeah, I was
it was
like,
a free
"Really?"
refill? Did you get
Oh,
refills
yeah,
at
no, of
least?
course, yeah, it was free refill,
Okay.
and they were frequent with them. It's not like they came once
Okay.
every, like, Lunar New Year.
Now, was it like, did it taste, was it a good Diet Coke, or were you like, it's just
Um,
a Diet Coke?
Not the best
Like,
I've
was it
had,
fresh? Like,
not the best it came from the bar
okay.
thing, so it was fairly fresh. It wasn't the best Coke I've ever
Mhm.
had, but I mean, it's Diet Coke.
Mhm.
It might have even been Pepsi, I don't remember, but all in all, it was the whole thing after Pal and I were said and done, it was about $280. That's
Mhm.
valet and that's tip on top of it. Work was very generous and my Christmas gift from work. Not this was aside from my bonus. This is a
Yeah.
gift I get from my boss on my team. They gave me $100 gift card, like one of those Amex
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
$100 gift cards. We took that straight to the restaurant.
Yeah.
And, so the meal came out to about 180 bucks between Pow and I.
That's not bad, like, given the
$280 is
experience.
a lot for
That
now,
is.
granted, 40 of that was valet. We paid 40 to valet park because it's Vegas,
Wow.
you know.
Damn,
Um,
yeah, well, that makes sense for Vegas.
if you plan it out right and you time it right and you park at one of the hotels that you have access to with your
Mhm.
parking badge, you can get out and walk it and save, you could save that $40 plus, and
Mhm.
then on top of that, $200, tip, you know,
Right.
and he was a very, very generous guy. We doubled the amount we would technically have given him. So,
Mhm.
but $280 for a night we probably won't live ever again for a long, long time.
Well, you don't know that. That's something that I always wanted to go to, like, one of these restaurants that just it's an experience, and, like, you don't get to go to all like, the one that's on my bucket list, if I could ever do this, I would just cry. It's Victoria and Albert's at Disney World.
Okay. Is that one of the
Have you
like
heard
fancy high end?
That's, like, one of the ones, like, you have to be dressed to the nines. Um, it's, like I'd have to look up, like, the pricing, but it's, like I think, like, when you go in, it's, like, you have to pick from, like, a four-course meal.
Right.
It's, like, a five-star, triple A like, one of those, like, it's, like, a top of the best, like,
I don't
um
recommend, like, obviously I would never recommend anyone do this on a regular basis, but I think it's enriching to life to have experiences. So if like
yeah,
you or Dustin get a bonus or something like that and you guys decide, hey, like, should we do this? I would say, you know what? You're not doing it every day. You're not doing it on a regular weekly basis. Go ahead and
yeah.
live an experience, spend the $280, you know,
Well, I'll say here, looking it up now, it's a seven-course meal for 295 per guest. So
that's a lot of food
that's
though.
like $600, but, like, that's 7 courses,
Right.
like
Yeah. It balances it out when you think about it,
yeah.
and I think all in all, yeah, I think you should live the experience. I think people, your Dave Ramsey's of the world and all that kind of stuff where they're like, you shouldn't be doing this and blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, shut up. You made your money selling books.
I think
You
to
didn't make your money stuffing it into envelopes and labeling them. You made it selling books to people telling them to do that. So stop.
I
Like,
think it's don't be reckless with your money. Like, if you're like, I can't pay my bills versus,
right,
like, should I go to Hell's Kitchen today? Like, be like that. But I've always taken the approach of, like, I don't want to be unwise with my money. Um, but at the same time, like, if I'm in a position where it's like, hey, we could
right,
go and do something nice for our anniversary. What am I gonna say? Like, Dustin, let's just not do anything for our anniversary because some
right.
people want to live that Dave Ramsey, like, hard life of, like, no, not until we're out of debt. And it's like you can go out for like $100 dinner. Just don't buy yourself a couple video games. Like, like,
That's what
it'll
I'm saying. Work gives you a
yeah.
bonus or whatever, or work gives
Yeah.
you a gift card or whatever, and you look at, like, think about it, like, you know what?
And
Screw
that's
it.
money you were never accounting for anyway because you
Right.
weren't expecting it. Like,
Like, let's just go. And like, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't go to Vegas on a regular basis. Da 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 da. You know what? I'm like, screw it. I'll
yeah.
go. I'll pay for it. It's fine. The wedding the next day, it was a nice, beautiful wedding. These are some of Pal's friends I met for the first time, and they're both
Mm.
like the two I met are incredibly sweet.
Oh,
Like Pal's
that's
school
good.
BFF, these are friends from her school. Pal's school
Mhm.
BFF is the one I interacted with the most because they were at our table,
Mhm.
and she is one of the nicest people. It's like one of the
That's good.
nicest people. And then we were sitting at the reception, and Yes, Danny and Brianna. Brianna is the bride. Brianna,
Aw,
congratulations. I hope you
congrats.
are enjoying the married life by the time you hear this. Um, like the gentleman, we had met a couple that were sitting at our table, and they did a buffet thing for the reception, very similar to what you
Mm,
did, right?
mhm,
And the guy was like, they left the buffet table like kind of unattended, and we
mhm.
were looking at him like, I'm gonna go, dude. And then the guy's like, I don't know if I should or not. I'm like, he was talking earlier, and he's like, I just paid 25, $30 for a burrito. Da, 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 da. And then when he was debating on going back to the buffet thing, I'm like, dude, you
Yeah.
just said earlier you paid $30 for a burrito. And he's like, you know what? You're right. And he went back and he ate again. I was like, I'm glad you cleared your stuff up. And then we had White Castle while in Vegas. That's the biggest disappointment, dude. To all
I
your East
remember, yeah,
Coasters, to all your East Coasters that have White Castle, it ain't nothing. I'm
we don't
sorry.
have them like, where I am, they're not here. I've had the White Castle burgers, like, the ones that you get at the store when they're frozen,
Yeah.
and, like, they're small, but I was like, "There's no way that these taste like whatever they have at the actual restaurants," you know what I
Right.
mean?
No,
That was just like
it's
a quick, like, I need to eat something, like,
like I
pop them
said,
in the microwave, yeah.
I compared it to like I was like the baseline standard is it should be at least equivalent to those little McDonald's like cheeseburgers, like the old school two
Mhm.
for combo or whatever, right? Those
Yeah.
single I'm like that should be the baseline equivalent.
Mhm.
It ain't even that. It tastes like
Oh, dang.
a school cafeteria hamburger with a soggy bun and stuff. I was like,
Uh,
Nope. I'm so glad I did this here, and I'm not out of my way to go get that." But and then we did the Cracker Barrel. That's a funny thing because one of Pal and I's one of Pal and I's things was like, I always promised Pal I'd take her to Cracker Barrel, and it never followed through because they were so far away.
mhm. We don't have any down here either.
There was one on the. I think Carla was in on this inside joke too because we used to pick on Carla and Jason about going to Cracker Barrel. That's where they met
Uh-huh.
or something. I don't remember. Um, because Pal or not Pal, but Carla has that accent that would totally fit in at a Cracker Barrel. You know what
West
I mean?
Virginia.
But we went and there was a Cracker Barrel on the way home, and I surprised Pal. I was like, "We're gonna go to Cracker Barrel." It's cute. It's a cute little like thing. They have a general
It's
store, and it's very cute and quaint
yeah,
and
like,
stuff like that.
when I go up north to visit my family who
Yeah,
live in West Virginia, we go to Cracker Barrel because I don't get to go to Cracker Barrel down there's no Cracker Barrel. So, it's a little fun experience, like, you're there, like, you have, like, the home style, like, breakfast and,
yeah,
the shop is always fun and everything. It's an experience. It's not like a Hell's Kitchen experience,
yeah.
but it's an experience.
So yeah, I'm like, okay, Cracker Barrel was okay. It's an experience. The
Mhm.
food is on par with like
I would say it's a little better than IHOP, right? Like,
um, it's
little better.
a I
Like,
don't know. It's hard to gauge, dude. I
I mean,
almost
I
want to
could
say it's like a hometown buffet like level of
I
food
haven't seen a hometown buffet in years. Are
or
they
Golden
still a
Corral, like
thing?
Golden Corral. You've been to a Golden Corral?
I've been to a Golden Corral, but I don't know if I would insult Cracker Barrel that much by comparing it to Golden
I don't know where to
Corral.
gauge it, but I think IHOP and um Norms and stuff like that are above it. I think maybe Denny's. I guess Denny's would be a fair
I don't know
equivalent.
because I'm sure IHOP and Denny's down here in South Florida is very different than IHOP and Denny's in California. Because the ones we got here are just like they're on the struggle bus. They're just
Yeah,
like
and
you
then
come in, they don't even ask for your order. They just like throw the eggs in your face, and they're just like, "Have a great day."
to round up my whole journey up until this point here, I went to go take all the Christmas decorations down, and I put them back in my storage unit, and I found out some
Oh yeah.
assholes broke into my storage unit and stole from me.
Which was
Oh,
I think you were telling me that there was no camera pointed in that direction.
this is a very, very like absurd. Like, I understand, stuff gets broken into, right?
Mhm.
But like I went to the manager and I was like, "Hey, what's the camera situation here?" And they're like, "Oh, well, we have it outside the door." My unit is internal, like it's an indoor unit, and there's a door with a keypad that you need to like enter a code to get into that bank of units, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So I was like, "Okay." They're like, "We have it at the door where you punch your code in, and then we have it at the gates." And I said, "Okay. So what you're telling me is if someone goes to that camera, punches in the code, and gets into the door, that just it's gonna be someone going into their storage unit. You don't know if they're robbing
Yeah.
somebody else or whatever."
You
You
don't know
don't
if they're going to unit 122 or 225, like, you have no
Right.
idea.
Right, because it uses a blanket code. Like, it's one code
Mhm.
that everybody gets, which is a
Yeah,
no-no.
yeah,
Um, and then at the gate, yeah, it's just someone going into the storage unit. You don't know whether it's their unit or not someone else's or whatever because there's no camera in the hallway to the units to see if someone pried open the door or picked the lock or whatever, which I can tell you they picked the lock because there's
that's
no signs of
ridiculous.
damage to my lock or my
Yeah.
door, but everything inside my unit is just thrown around. I called my brother. I was like, "Hey, did you come to the unit and like look for
Mhm.
something or whatever?" And he's like, "No, I haven't been there in a while." And he's like, "What's up?" And I said, "Because all my shit is on the floor and thrown around." And he's like, "Yeah, no, we didn't do it. Yeah, we weren't in there, dude." And he's like, "I would have let you know if I did."
Yeah,
And I'm like, "Okay, cool," because I have no problems with him going in there and just
right.
if anything, I was gonna be like, "Why didn't you put shit back, dude?" Like,
Yeah.
but
You're like, "Bro, clean up your shit." Like,
yeah, but like, no, it wasn't him. And then I'm like, okay. So I start assessing everything and I'm so pissed. Like I'm pissed just because I'm violated, they got in my shit.
yeah.
And then I had two family heirlooms in there. One was my uncle's trumpet, my late uncle, my uncle passed away. My late uncle's
Mhm.
trumpet and my late uncle's flute were both stolen. And I'm like, ah, crap. And now I'm upset because I have to call my mother and explain to her that her dead brother's flutes were stolen or instruments were stolen.
Wow.
They stole some collectible toys and like stuff like that, which is weird because I had a whole thing of retro games and stuff like GameCube, PlayStation 2, like retro stuff just sitting in a tub
Yeah.
in there. They didn't take it,
I thought that was very strange.
which is funny
Very
too though
weird.
because they saw like a box for a Nintendo Switch and a PlayStation 5 and they
Uh-huh.
rummaged through that box to see if it was
Oh,
in
I bet.
there, you know. But I was
Uh-huh.
like they didn't take none of the other stuff and I was like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. But then, like, I had three suitcases in there.
Mhm.
They took one of the suitcases, like, they took what they wanted and threw it in the suitcase and then took off with the suitcase. And I was like, all the stuff was in like those big Rubbermaid,
Mhm.
storage containers that you put in the garage.
Yeah.
I was like, why didn't you just take the tub? Like, why did you go
Maybe
take the
they wanted
time?
to look less suspicious? I don't know, like, people bring stuff in and out of their storage units all the time,
Right.
so
It's just weird, right? But there's no
yeah,
camera in that thing. Like, you're just taking a tub out of your storage unit.
yeah. Now what are they gonna do for you? Like, management or is like
This is very, very interesting. So I talked to management the next day,
mhm,
right? And I was like, "Hey, I'd like to get a different unit at a similar price point that I'm already paying because my unit's been compromised and, if they
mhm,
wanna come back, they're gonna
yeah,
come back if they want to, right?" They're like, "Yeah, we can give you a different unit here, there," and I said, "Okay, well, I'd like to start planning this stuff out. I'll shoot you an email tomorrow." I emailed them, and I haven't heard back since, and this is 2 weeks ago.
I
And
feel
then
like storage units, just like the people that, like, work there don't give a crap about anything.
I understand people have situations like, you're moving
Yeah,
or you're in between housing or whatever. Something happens
yeah,
and you need to put your stuff in a storage unit. I can learn from this experience now. Do not put anything of any remote value in a storage unit for
yeah,
long term period.
yeah,
Do not do it. If you do, you pick a particular storage unit that has security access at all points of entry and
mhm,
etc. You'll pay more for that unit, but your stuff of value will be secured. And then
mhm,
but yeah, I had to now like it's just a hassle of like crap. Well, I got to go file a police report, and the police aren't going to do anything because obviously they have better
yeah.
things to do, right? Than hunt down a trumpet and a flute and some toys.
Right. And it'd be very hard to even find out who it is because
Right? It's almost impossible.
you don't know when it was compromised.
Right. And you don't know, like, like I said, they put their key into the door or the gate code or whatever in, and it just looks like they're going to their unit. You don't know if they're
Mhm.
stealing or not.
Yeah.
So like the police aren't going to really do anything. They did take the report. She was very, very nice and all this stuff. But it's just like I have to get a report just so I can talk to their insurance and see if I can get paid
Mhm.
out. for what they took.
Yeah.
They took a Steam Link, which was funny because I'm betting they thought it was the Steam Deck,
Oh,
and they found the box for the Stream Deck in the unit.
oh,
So
did
they probably
they?
thought that was the Steam Deck, and they're like, "Oh, that's that thing," and they tried to take that or whatever. Yeah, crackheads steal crazy shit, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that was a.
Have you considered checking, like, Facebook Marketplace and,
I did
like
that whole thing. I went to like
you
Facebook
did?
Marketplace. I went to Offer Up, all that kind of stuff. The unfortunate thing is I don't have serial numbers on that trumpet or that flute, so I can't. I don't have any proof that it's mine
Right,
aside from visual.
right, and
So it's gone. They're
yeah,
gone. I won't get them back.
man.
So I think what I'm gonna do is hopefully insurance pays out or whatever, and just as an homage to my uncle, whose instruments were taken, I'll probably just go get another guitar or something
Okay.
and
That's
see what.
unfortunate, though, that
Yeah,
people, like
and it's just it's the violation of just having your shit
yeah,
taken. I'm like, what are animals, dude?
yeah. My car's been broken into several times. I don't keep anything in my car, like,
You learned that
if
lesson,
you
huh?
if you go in there, like, you're gonna find probably, like, a Dunkin' Donuts, like, empty bag, like, I mean, um, or something like maybe back when my car used to get broken into all the time, textbooks for college, like, um, but it was always, like, that uncomfortable feeling, like, you'd come outside, you'd go to open your car door, and then it was already, like, open.
Yeah.
Or you'd see the light on the inside, which meant another door was open, and so you're looking and, you know, it's just kinda like, "Really? Like, you don't
I
have
think
better
it's
things to
interesting
do?"
too.
Like
The other thing that kind of bothers me to some extent is
mhm,
I had a lot of the Twitch shit that was still in there, like some of my old business cards and stuff like that. So
mhm.
like, oh, are they gonna actually go to this channel and try to watch it and see and all this kind of stuff? They took one of the St. Jude cups, like how you got them for every year, like for like making X amount of
Yeah,
dollars. I had them all in a box, like with kitchen stuff, and they took one
yeah.
of them. They're like, "Oh, this cup's cool," and they took it. I was like, what, dude?"
There's, like, no, like, logic behind, like, the reasoning.
The trumpet
Like
and the flute make obvious sense. They're like, "Oh, these are probably
yeah,
really
yeah, yeah,
old, and
yeah.
I'm gonna grab these,"
But the
But
retro
like,
stuff, like, the fact that they left that all there, that's, like, strange to me because I feel like you could easily go into, like, a retro gaming store and sell all of that for, like, a quick
right.
100 or you know what I mean?
I
Like
think they took what they thought they knew, like PlayStation
mhm.
5 box. Obviously, I'm gonna grab this guy, and then like the Switch box they rummaged through. But yeah, it's unfortunate. It sucks, And then that's been my week. Oh, that's been my past 2 months.
Man,
Next time we talk, you're gonna be a mom. No, not quite. You're due what, May?
March.
Which one is Leshki? One of them's May. Is that Leshki? Or are
No,
you
I
both
think
March?
we're both March. Leshki's end of March, I'm beginning of March.
Oh wow, you're weeks
S-
away then.
Yeah, so like his due date's March 10th. Um and that's technically when I'd be like 40 weeks. So, but he could come anytime now. Like it's like as I'm 36 weeks now. But I asked my OB and she said typically with first pregnancies, like you'll find that you'll probably end up going all the way to 40 or 41 weeks. But she's like after that, like we would induce you. But um so but I don't know. I'm working up until 38 weeks, so I'm hoping he doesn't come until then because like I gotta work,
you're
you know.
gonna you're gonna deliver like in the classroom. Watch.
That's what everyone says. Like everyone's like, Hannah, don't stress yourself out. Your water's gonna break, and then you have to deliver here. I'm like, no, because right now they're trying. My boss is like, God bless them. They're trying to find coverage for me, like
All
while I'm
right.
gone, and no one's applying to like the job that I work. So like they're, and we lost one of my other friends that worked there because she moved, and so they have one teacher spot that's vacant, and then when I go on maternity leave, they'll have two, which is really stressful because like there's so many kids, and you have to have like right amount of teachers, but you also want someone that's competent because not everybody that gets hired, you see people get hired all the time, and then like it's they quit or they, it's like a revolving door or something like that. So I know they're stressing a little bit, and they're like, listen, he doesn't need to come like too soon. But at the
Yeah.
same time, nobody's applying for the job I work,
That's so
so
wild. So yeah, by the time next time we talk, you're probably gonna be a mom. Are I know this show for sure will definitely have like pending dates and all that kind of stuff because obviously you're gonna be a mom.
I'm gonna be a mama. And we'll see. Probably the first couple months, like I just need to get situated, and then after that,
We
um,
need video though of baby on camera.
oh, of course,
We
of
need we
course,
need even if it's a shorty episode. We'll literally call it
yeah.
shorty because you'll be holding a tiny human.
I know I'm gonna have him like I'll probably wear if I could probably do episodes in the future, but I would have him like in that sling, just like tucked away into like my neck.
Did you buy the sling? Do you have the baby sling where it just
No,
sits?
I have one that I really want to get. Um, I'm just waiting till like I keep saying my next paycheck, and then like I get to the point where I get to my next paycheck, and then I'm trying to pay off the medical bills that I have right now, and I'm like, oh,
What's okay, so I saw Dustin build the stroller.
yes.
What's the thing you splurged on? Like, what's the one thing out of all the baby stuff you splurged on? You're like, you know what?
We haven't splurged on anything. The stroller was a gift from my coworkers.
Oh,
The bassinet was a gift from a parent that's in the school. A lot of the clothes were donated from parents that are at the school that were like, Miss Hannah, you're pregnant. Like, please, like, have all this. We haven't really had to buy.
that's
We haven't
incredible.
bought anything. No, we haven't bought anything.
That's
Everything's
incredible.
been given to us and donated to us. Which has been really good because times are just tough right now. Inflation,
Yeah.
and these medical bills are trickling in. Like I made an Excel spreadsheet and I'm like I think LabCorp was after me like the other day for $40 for blood work, and they were like, if you don't pay
We're
this
gonna
forty
come break your
dollars,
legs.
we're like, we haven't sent this to collections yet. You better pay this. And I'm like, it was genuinely because I forgot about the bill. I have so many bills that come in just from because you're at the doctor all the time when you're pregnant. They're taking your blood for everything. And so like they ended up calling me one day while I'm at work, and I didn't recognize the number. I thought I was waiting for a call from my OBGYN. So I was like, oh, this is my OBGYN. So I pick up and they're like, this is LabCorp. I was just wondering why you didn't pay your bill. I was like, ma'am, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't see it.
I'm at
And
work,
then
woman.
I know. And she's like, well, I'm going to make record of this. So
Dude, I hate
literally,
that.
like,
I hate that kind of stuff. Like they act like they're gonna send two mobsters to come break your legs and like kidnap your
they've
baby
sent
because you
one
didn't
of
pay a
them,
$40 lab bill.
they sent one of them to a debt collector, but it was like one of my big ones that, like, it's like a $600 ultrasound bill. And I was like, I couldn't cover, like, I was just, and then, but they didn't even wait. They wasted no time. And so all of a sudden I get like these calls and I haven't been picking them up. They just leave messages
That's
that are like,
weird. It should be like 90 days, I think it is. Like 90 days, then but they have to tell you that they're sending it. Like they gotta be like, yo,
so I kept getting the bill, but it was like, I was like, I can't, I'll get to this when I can. Usually I've had bills that they wait a little bit longer. It was like after those 90 days, they were like, I was getting calls from like, this is collection and we're gonna collect and you're gonna break your kneecaps and like steal your firstborn and da 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 da. And I'm thinking like, bro, I'm like, can you go after somebody else? Like I literally like,
so think of it this way. I know people that work in that business.
mm-hmm.
They get commissions or whatever for whatever they collect. That's
Do
why.
they?
Oh yeah, they get bonuses and
Oh,
stuff based on
that's
what
why
they
they're so
collect.
rude about it. I'm like, listen, you could not pay me enough to like be that mean to
Oh
me,
no, I
like
don't
that
have the
harsh.
heart to be like I said, I have a problem with the dude putting like people's hardships on the internet. Like, and I'm not gonna be
Yeah,
able to call people up and hear that their kid is sick and all this stuff and that they
yeah,
have all these bills. Like, oh, my grandpa's dying from cancer. I'm sorry, I can't pay this bill right now. You know what? You're right. Don't pay
mhm.
this shit. You
I know.
know, whatever,
So
dude. I don't have the heart to do that stuff. But yeah, that's a special breed of person that does that stuff. It's usually people with
I,
like, it's like a power complex. Like, oh, I'm in
I would be
charge of
like
your future.
people that clearly like to fight
Yeah, I'm
because
in
I'm
charge of
just
your
like,
financial destiny because of this $40 medical bill.
yeah. But I didn't even know it because they come at you so aggressively that like it was instilling the fear of God in me. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna lose everything. I don't even have anything to lose. I don't have a house. I don't have a this.
Yeah.
Like what are you gonna take? Like, and so many people I've told said like, you do know that there's laws that they can't.
Oh no,
It doesn't
these
affect your
dudes
credit score. Like, and I was like, are you sure? Like, and they're like, yeah,
there's
because it was becoming an issue. Like,
these dudes go and they say all kinds of things that are illegal just to try and get you to
Mhm.
pay. They're not supposed to harass you or whatever. And then
Yeah.
like you tell they're not supposed to call you between X hours, like these
Mhm.
hours and these hours if you tell them not to. Hell, you can tell them don't call me anymore, send all your stuff in writing, and they
Mhm.
have to comply with that. If they're like, "No, we're required to call you," blah blah. It's like, nope, that's not what the law says. You know, like
Yeah.
I don't quote me on these. I'm not a lawyer, but I think there's like
Yeah.
things in place where it's like, if you tell them that they can't call you, they're not supposed to do it. You know,
Yeah, well, that's what a lot of my friends say. They're like, "Hannah, don't even pick up." And honestly, if like a lot of my friends were like, never say the word yes. Like even if it's a
yeah.
question like, "Oh, is this Hannah?" They're like, "Don't like Hannah, don't say anything because like they have these weird ways of like contractually binding you to like
Hmm.
something or to call you or." And I'm thinking like I'm like, "Listen, if I had the money at the end of the day, like I would absolutely pay my medical bills. Like
It's
if
so
I
weird.
had
Like, well, it's
like
not weird, but like, there's the things in place where it's like everything's on a timer for them, right? Because there's
yeah.
only X amount of time they can send it to collections and then sue on that collection and stuff like that. It's statute of limitations, basically, right?
Mhm.
But the key to the whole thing is if they get you to make like one thing or they con you into making one payment or whatever, it
Mhm.
resets the counter. So like if you go through,
Does it?
if let's say statute of limitations like 4 years, right, on credit
Mhm.
or something like that, you can go 3.5 years or whatever, and if they con you into making a payment and you make that payment, that counter now resets because you've started making payments, and that now it's 4 years from that payment you just made.
Is that's through collections itself,
That's like
like debt
collection
collect
laws or something. Again, I'm not a lawyer. Full
uh,
disclosure, I'm not like a lawyer.
yeah, I'm curious about that
Yeah,
because,
you do your
like
own research. Talk to a lawyer if you need to. If anyone's listening to this about this
like, the
kind of
bills
stuff.
that I have, like, bills that I've only had one that has gone to collections, everything else is but I've paid, like, $10 here for, like, the ones I've gotten that, like
Yeah,
to knock them out, like
yeah,
and just to be like, "Hey, like, I'm actively trying to pay these, like, I'm not trying to, like, dodge it, but,
right.
like, don't ask me for $200 off the bat
I'm
because 'cause you're
just
not gonna
saying is
get it."
I guess all
Yeah.
I'm saying is again, not a lawyer. Full disclosure,
Mhm.
not a lawyer. But what I can say is like be very, very careful on the stuff you
Mhm.
do make payment. Like be very, very careful on the decisions you make once they get to a collection.
Okay.
Like once
I
they go
got
to
you.
collections, be very, very careful with the decisions you make and how you handle them. We're at that time of the day anyway where we go and send you on your way, Hannah. By the time you come back, you will be a mom. I'm guessing.
Yeah, unless like it'll depend because I might be able to grab onto a good games episode, or if I'm able to squeeze out another one of these, like we'll see. But again, he's kind of like he's fully developed and like ready to.
You are contractually obligated though under your good people media agreement to bring your
Mhm.
child onto Good Friends Good Games and share him with the family. So
Oh yeah, I'll
you
be
are
like, "Here's
contractually
my
obligated.
baby."
And we demand that he's in a little Mario outfit. We will accept Luigi.
Okay, well then I absolutely need to splurge on that then.
Just go get some Oshkosh Bagosh or whatever. Is that still a thing?
That's still a thing,
Apparently,
but
mom says when I was a baby, that's what she splurged on. I had Oshkosh Bagosh and like stuff like that.
honestly, I think the thing I do plan on splurging on when I get the chance is um what would you call it? Or what the heck is it called? Yeah, the sling. I want to get like a really nice carrier for him.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and then a crib because we haven't gotten a crib yet because I'm like he doesn't need a crib. He has a bassinet, and I'm like he'll use that for about like 5 6 months, and then we'll get a crib.
Don't forget the beer dispensing helmet for Dustin because he's probably going to need it.
Oh yeah, the
So he
dad.
can like hold the baby while he just sips beers and
Well, he really wants like the dad Adidas shoes,
oh
and
no. Will he accept the
he,
New Balance?
oh yeah, the New Balance. I'm sorry, he wants the dad New Balance shoes.
Oh, he's reached that
Uh,
stage and he's going to want golf shirts and golf shorts and
Yeah, we figured that we could dress him up like that, and then I'll wear the mom jeans, and we'll take like a picture with the baby, like all
but that
dressed up
look
as
is in
like
right now. Mom jean look is in.
I know, but like I want to make it like a little bit more '90s mom, like maybe a fanny pack in there or something, and then we'll take a picture together.
Are you
And
going to model your mom stylings after like Full House or whatever it is? Are you going to pull the
yeah,
Aunt
something like
Becky?
that. Yeah.
You're going to do the Aunt Becky and then what was the other one that was a popular mom back then? Oh, the one from Boy Meets World. You're gonna do the Boy Meets World mom.
Oh yeah, I have to go make like a Pinterest board of '90s
90s
mom
mom
inspiration.
fashion.
Yeah.
You're
But
gonna be a
yeah,
good
we'll
mom. You're gonna
see.
be an incredible mom.
Aw, thank you. We'll see when he comes, but
What you need to do, I don't know if this is actually gonna happen or not, but Dill said one of
uh,
his plans was to come to California.
uh-huh.
So what we got to do is you can drop the baby off at dad's house, come to California for a couple days,
Mhm.
and then we'll all go to Disneyland.
Listen, I need I'll need like 6 months with him first. Because I thought about I'm like, I don't know when it's appropriate to like leave the baby with. So,
I
and
feel
I
like
know
your dad is a fairly enough intelligent guy to where the baby
he
will be in
is.
capable hands.
I know it's more of like the what's developmentally appropriate for the baby.
You leaving your child with me, now that probably is going to be like one of those things where it's like,
He's like, what do I do? What do I do with this?
like, what is it? What do kids like? Oh yeah, Toy Story. Wait, there's no Toy Stories anymore. Well, damn, where do we go now?
I'll just have Pow over there and be like, Pow, you can take care of the baby.
Take him to the park. Oh yeah, the park. That's a good one.
Well, you guys will see him soon, and I'm sure Eric will make like a little post like when the baby has arrived, so that
Oh yeah,
everybody knows. And
we're gonna. Well, you'll have access to the Good People Twitter account, so you can post
oh
up
yeah,
your
that's right.
baby
That's
and
right.
share baby photo. Be the one thing I despise where you like take a baby photo every 3 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 9 weeks. I'm like,
Oh
why is
my
this in my
gosh.
feed? Stop! Why is this
Uh,
in my feed?
yeah, you guys will get cute pics. I think he's gonna come out looking like Dustin personally,
Oh
but
boy,
we'll see. I just want him to have my hair. Like I
what if
want
he
like
looks
the
like your
dark.
dad?
Well, did I tell you what we're naming him?
Naming him after your dad?
Yeah, I'm naming him after my dad. Yeah.
We hit a
So
roadblock. If Eric has a child, we hit a roadblock on Ellie Reagan, which I'm actually fully
mhm.
like almost committed to now in terms of a name.
That is a pretty name, honestly.
Um, which we didn't even talk about Last of Us, which is kind
I
of
realized that because you said Ellie, and I was like, oh man,
yeah,
I
that's been a
forgot.
wild ride so far. We're gonna probably talk about it on Good Friends Good Games next week.
Oh yeah, that's a good
So if you want
place.
to jump
But
in on
it's
that
great
conversation,
so far. It's a great
one
series
of the
so
best
far.
TV adaptations of a video game so far. There's not many, but
Yeah.
it's
The
I think
last episode, not last night's, but the one before that, that one was like a little slow for me.
yeah, no, it's
It was still good.
you played through the whole game anyway, right? So
Yeah, I did. I finished the game.
right, yeah,
Remember,
so
I said that like I enjoyed The Last of Us, like I thought it was a good game and I liked it, but I never viewed it as
this masterpiece.
like this masterpiece. Like I was like, this is a really good game.
Does
Would I
the
play it
TV
again?
show
Maybe.
reinforce that a little bit?
The TV show makes me want to go back and replay it, which I've been meaning to do anyway because I was like, maybe my view of this game mostly came from the fact that people were so crazy about it in the beginning. Like, you have to play it. They were
Yeah.
rabid about it. You have to play this game. Like, it's literally like the most incredible thing in the entire world. Like, it was upsold to me so hard that I think like my expectations were here, and it came to like here,
What
which
did you
is
think
still
of the
very
before
high.
we leave? I got to know. What did you think of the
Yeah.
Bill episode?
I thought it was a good episode. The one thing that I like miss though, and I know a lot of people say this, is they miss the banter between
The
Ellie and Bill.
arguing, yeah.
Yeah, I will say that in the beginning, I did not. Was it? Is it Frank?
Frank, yeah.
Frank, right? I remember like what happens in the game.
Mhm.
So right off the bat, like I was like, I don't like Frank. I don't trust him. He's just gonna hurt Bill. Like we're building this up, and he's
Yeah.
just gonna pull some shit and run
Yeah.
off. So I was already like, I was like, I don't like Frank. Like, and then you get to the part where you're realizing that they're turning a different direction.
Yeah.
And I was like, I will say, like the most powerful shot was with that last window shot
The
when
iconic
they're
window.
the window when they're like, and you know what's behind that window, and you know why the window's open, and I'm just like, damn, like
Um I will say, I know we're running a little long here, but I think this is
no, you're
good.
fine.
Nick Offerman, I think is Nick Offerman. I always thought Nick Offerman was an incredible actor.
Hmm.
He's been in things like obviously he's famous for Parks and Rec. He was Ron Swanson. He's also been in like
Hmm.
The Founder, the movie about McDonald's, and also he's a fantastic, well diverse actor. And I think this kind of sealed that thing because like he really
Hmm.
immersed himself in that Bill role
Hmm.
versus. And it's interesting because he played this role of Bill that we never really got to see in the game.
Yeah.
we're
It's like
seeing like
a
this
layered.
tendered relationship,
Mhm.
lockdown Bill that genuinely loves somebody. And I was like,
Right.
this guy's a damn good actor. He really is an
It
incredible
was
actor.
when I knew that he was casted as I was so stuck on the fact that I thought that for sure they were going the route that they did with the games,
Right. The
because when
the
I think
aggressive like Bill that's like
yeah, because when I
angry.
think of Nick Offerman, my head immediately goes to, like, the silly, like, Parks and Rec kinda Nick Offerman, and so
Yeah.
I didn't think that we would be going into something deeper, like, serious, you know what I mean? I was like and I was excited for Billy and or no, for, Ellie banter, right?
Right.
But at the end of the day, I can live without the banter. Like, it's fine. Like,
We
I
are
will say because he's such a good actor, I would have really liked to see him in more episodes.
Ellie.
Like, if
I think
yeah,
she's doing such a good job as Ellie too. Like Bella, what's her name? Bella
Bella
Ramsey. I think she's
Ramsey.
doing an incredible job as Ellie.
Hmm. She is good. She is good. I really love Ashley Johnson as Ellie though. Like, just but Bella's doing justice. You know what I mean? She's
Yeah.
doing a great job. Like, and Pedro's amazing. Like,
Eh,
I like Troy Baker more. I mean, I will say that. Like,
I get he's doing. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying he's
yeah.
bad. But I think it's one of those things where I miss. I wish I got more of like the accent that he has in the game and all that kind of stuff,
Hmm.
and the delivery of the lines or
Yeah.
whatever. I'm so disappointed
Uh,
in this, and this is not a slight against it, but I am disappointed that I haven't heard like the holy shit Joel thing from like when he kills somebody. Like when you do it in the game, she's like, "Holy shit, Joel!" Like that
oh
kind of
yeah,
like I
yeah.
have not gotten one of those yet. Uh,
The one
but
thing I will say is I think Troy's Joel is more tender than Pedro's.
right,
And that's what I like about Troy Baker's Joel more is like I very early in the game with Joel, you did view him as a dad, like like a father that
yeah,
love that like I'm not it's not that I'm not getting that sense from Pedro, but he seems more rigid in the TV adaptation.
yeah. It's interesting because it's funny because this is like one of my. I've said it numerous times. This is one of my favorite games of
Mhm.
all time. Like it's literally in my
Mhm.
desert island of video games where I would take it with
Mhm.
me. Um, and it's pretty I'm pleased with it. Like I'm actually
Mhm.
pleased with the show and I think it's doing good things with it. I like some of the changes they've made. The
Mhm.
last episode that was last night, you get to the two boys.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
seen it yet. I'm gonna
Yeah.
watch it later.
Yeah, but you've played it, so
I know what to expect,
you know
yeah.
where you're going with it. But like
Yeah.
I do love that they've taken some of these small things in the game and
Mhm.
thrown them in as Easter eggs, like in the show. Like I
Mhm.
think the last not last night's, but the last week's, like she found the porn mag.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
She's like, "Holy shit! Look at the size of this thing." I'm like, "Oh shit, that's in the game." Or where she does the
Yeah.
the hotel thing. I will take my
Yeah.
water up to room so and so. And like I was like, okay, they're doing all these little things.
Yeah. They're doing the little Easter eggs, which is
It's
really
it's great.
nice.
There is some love and care going into this show, and it's being treated fairly well. Game sales are through the roof too, just like I called it.
Oh, good.
So people are buying it and playing it. On
Yeah,
that
no, if
note,
we can
yeah,
keep it
we're
anything.
gonna wind down here. Hannah has
I
been
got
fun as
baby things
always.
to
Hannah's
do.
got baby things to do.
Yes.
What's on the agenda thing before you leave? What's on the agenda for the baby stuff today? What are we doing
I
today?
have to well, his clothes are being washed. His newborn clothes are being washed at the moment. I left them at my parents, so I have to go pick them up. And then I have to do grocery shopping, and I think that's pretty much it. I don't push myself. Like, if I have the energy to do
Did you
more,
baby
then I'll
proof
do
the
more.
house yet? Did you get the rubber corner things and all that
Nope.
jazz?
Kid gonna learn.
Did you put the thing
Kid
over
gonna,
the? Oh, he's gonna learn. He's gonna stick his finger in the socket and learn the hard way.
well, it's more so because he's a newborn. Like, or when he comes,
I
he'll be
know.
a
I'm just.
newborn. I know, but everybody's like, oh my gosh, you didn't do that. And I'm like, listen, I'm gonna be
Where's he gonna
carrying
go?
him. Eh, I'm trying to be like this mom that's just like
I'm so
unbothered.
jealous of
Like,
Dustin this year. I'm very jealous because Dustin's gonna get to have the Home Depot like song, and it's gonna actually mean something to him now. He's gonna get
I
the
know.
down 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 down.
Yes.
Yeah, he's gonna actually get a father Home Depot Father's Day. I'm so jealous.
I gotta give him a gift card now.
Yeah, and a tool belt.
All right.
Don't forget a tool belt. All right,
Oh
we're
yeah.
out. We're on our way out of here. Again, you can find this on YouTube. You can find us on Twitch. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you love listening to your podcast. Exclamation point for those in the chat. Social media. We'll give you a link tree with all those good links. Next week is Good Friends, Good Games. That will be the 18th. So that crew will be back to talk about video games. We'll talk about more Last of Us on there and the games we're playing. This has been the Good People with Eric and Hannah. We enjoy having you. We appreciate you. Hannah's going to go be mom before being a mom.
Yep.
Does it actually count? Are you a mom right now? Or
I
does
would
it?
say that I am because he's like fully ready to go. Like,
Yeah, you're carrying a child, literally.
Oh yeah.
All right. On that note, I'm Eric.
Hannah, and we'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.